Boop, 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 boop. Howdy and aloha, everybody. Thank you for being here. This is James with Monotalk. I don't know, it just seems so corny. Just doing the announcement. And I am not big on flashy stuff, and God damn it, that's crooked. Or something's crooked. Maybe I'm crooked. But anyway, Ryan Bannock. Welcome. All right, Shirley. Hey, Shirley. Okay, so this is Monotalk. People come on here, lots of chatting, and I call it the galley. People that are hanging out. Hey, Evan. And, there's lots of good comments in there. What's great about this platform is we copy what's happening in the chat, which I don't think you can do with regular YouTube. So what's really great about this is I have a little picture window over there on the right, or maybe it's on your left as you look at it. But it's on the side here. You can see what people are putting down. In the studio that I'm looking at right now, I can see, who's putting in information, typing in information, typing in stuff. People are just saying hi right now, which usually happens, introducing themselves. And again, my name is James. I'm with Monotalk, and I had a blog talk radio before this, a year and a half ago, about a year ago, year and a half. Just blog talk radio, pretty much talking about the same things. I was a serious Bernie fan at the time, but then I met up with Eben Kim and After Hours and Anything Goes, which he fabulously taught me how to use this, which I'm still learning how to do. And there's a few other things that I know I can do that I'm not doing. It's just, I got other stuff I'm doing. I do have a full-time job, and I do other things. So when I do this, I'm doing it voluntarily because I really, 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 really am trying to, and this is a broad stroke, like I always say, I'm trying to save our planet Earth and all of its inhabitants. I know, that's nutty. And I'm telling you, seems pretty nutty, but I'm going to tell you right now, we've got to take little steps. We've got to take baby steps sometimes. We got to make the right choices, make the right decisions. Power to the people. We have to get back and take control as a voting republic of what we're supposed to be and get a better grasp on our supposed leaders that are supposed to be at our whim at doing what we want to do. For a good example, everybody wants single payer at about 70% and growing now. People want single payer, universal health care, etc., Medicare for all, but they're not doing it because they don't give a shit about you. And I'm talking about both parties. So we need to get better handle on them because we don't want our efforts to be wasted. Hence mono word, waste. So I've been seeing a lot of people, reading a lot of comments, hearing a lot of people, and what it is I've got people out there that are saying, you know what, it just seems like a big waste. It just seems like all the independent media that's out there, people on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, it just seems like their message isn't getting through and nothing's happening. Every time they go do a protest, it raises something. Oh, Rosenfeld, 10, welcome. And the problem is they're not seeing any results from doing that, from their actions and what they're doing. No matter how loud the statement is, no matter how loud the rallies are. A good example, I was down in San Clemente, California, which is just north of San Diego, about 30 miles to 40 miles south of Disneyland. And I was there doing a rally. I was there participating in a rally in regards to these giant canisters they're going to start bringing in. They look like giant Coors cans full of radiant waste. That's nuclear waste to be stored 100 yards from the ocean. Which, by the time I found out about all this, they're already starting to do it. They've dug the holes. They've got the eggshell, the egg carton containers already set up and ready to be stowed. It's like we were late to the party, and it's really terrible, but it's still going through. I mean, this is one of those things where you want to lay in front of a tractor. I mean, I'm just surprised. So Public Watchdog is out there putting some stuff on. Bob Pope, brilliant. We've got and a few other people out there that are doing some great things, but it really seems like a waste. And some of them, and some of the people that I've noticed in Facebook and Twitter, it's just like, is it going anywhere? Is it doing anything? Is anything happening? Why is this all puffy right here? Anyway, and honestly, it does seem like a waste. It does. It seems like everything we're doing, the appearance of it. Hey, Tech move. It's been a while, bro. Come on here. Yeah, I get it. It really does appear as though our voices aren't being heard. Nobody's paying attention to us. As loud and as amazing and wonderful Jimmy Dore is and all the information he gives. Saying progressive, Jamal Thomas, Holly Siliger with Zoom Politicon, Jamal Thomas from Progressive Soapbox, Nico House, Mikasa Sukasa, Tim Black, just a lot of people out there, We Are Change, News Bud, God, just so many people that are just out there, and that's just a small amount of people. There are tons of them. There are probably hundreds as you just continue. Some of them are kind of wacky. Some of them are just Alex Jones type people. Some of them are even flat earthers, which is the craziest. Fuck, I don't know. Whatever they're doing, that's a waste. That is definitely a good example of a waste of your fucking brain and your mental capacity, your cognitive thinking, which I don't think they have any. Because the earth is flat. All right. Anyway, so, and I'm getting it. Fuck, it's just frustrating. But you have to think, well, was Trump a waste? Or did he enlighten us on a few things out there? As dumb as they portray him to be, the guy's not a moron. He's not an idiot. Okay, he has over 200. I'm not propping the guy up, but you have to, say. I mean, a lot of kids at the age of 18, 20, whatever years old, have lived in a silver spoon type environment or village or family, have many times gotten lots of money and they pissed it away and they've done the wrong things, and some of them end up in jail, and some of them just ended up, working for their dad in the construction company, But this kid kept going. He kept pushing. He kept trying. He had large real estate deals. He, lots of, you got to give the guy a little bit of credit for creating such an empire. Trump Tower, go ahead. Go build a Trump Tower. I want to see you do that. The guy's not a complete moron. So what he's bringing up to the world is that there is fake news. There is propaganda. And there's so many people that just aren't buying it because it's MSNBC and CNN and there's no possible way. So, but it's not a waste that he's there. It's not a waste. It's just that he's bringing up, even though it seems like a circus and a sideshow and it's just stupid and ridiculous and wrong, it's the way they're portraying. If let's just say if Obama came up and said, which I know he's said a few times, but never really said it out loud. He never really actually said, by the way, Fox News is just a bunch of propaganda and, they're just out to just take me down, and which is true. That's what they want to do. They're, and Fox News has different masters. They have different puppeteers. MSNBC has their puppeteers and their masters. James, he ruined so many businesses by going bankrupt and not giving a shit. He had over 200 businesses. Okay, I think a third of them went down, which ruined a lot of business for a lot of people. Yeah, he fucked a lot of people, but he still, I mean, I'm not fucking picking the guy up. I'm just saying he's bringing up some interesting topics. He's talking about some fucking really nutty things that still need they need attention. You shouldn't just, you're the guy who's supposedly the head master chief fucking of the United States is saying something. You have to look into those things. You can't just take it as a grain of salt. Oh, he's just a fucking idiot. No, there's investigations that are happening. H.A. Goodman, who I watch every once in a while, he's a little over. I'm not big with him in Israel, and I'll get to Israel in a second with Trump. But there are some things that are going to be that are saying that Hillary Clinton's going to be indicted. And I keep hearing this from HA, and I keep hearing this from a lot of people on the right, and this and this and that and this and that. But I'm just not seeing anything. But back to the wasted part. Okay, so if you think that 2017, the election that came and brought us Trump, if you think that's a waste, it's not. It's something that actually kind of needed to be done. And the reason why I'm saying that, hey Don, is that it's bringing our attention to just how terrible and disgusting our nation is. When you have a leader that runs and walks and elbows and hangs out with fucking Nazi terrorists, white supremacists. It's just, he's just opened the door of the ugliness of the United States of America. And now we're seeing it in front of our eyes from the lies and the cheating and the collusion and the rigging from the DNC that's being exposed little by little by little. Donna Brazile, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and how the DNC is not doing things for us and they don't give a shit, and recently Chuck Schumer, we're not doing single payer. He's just saying fuck you to everybody, which is just pretty much what's going on. So it wasn't really a waste, in my professional opinion. So, and then on a smaller level, at the state or the city or just around you, there are some times when you think you're putting in efforts. Like when I walked around for Bernie and I got blisters and I walked all over an area which is predominantly Republican and centrist Blue Dog Democrat. And I got the dirtiest looks and I got people just, get off my property. I don't need this crap here. I'm just going, sir, I'm just saying voting's coming up and just want you to, take a look at what Bernie has to have and just get out of here. And this one guy that I remember distinctly, this is awesome. He goes, none of them. He goes, why you care about any of them is insanity. And as I look back at that guy, I go, wow, I think that guy was kind of ahead of the curve there. Because he actually looked at me and he goes, why you look, and he's looking at, because I'm kind of a big guy, why do you even give or care about these people? It's all a big waste. It's all a waste. None of them give a shit. And I get it now. With Bernie running as a Democrat coming up, which I think he's just trying to keep and hold people, just kind of keep people hanging on to the slime of the DNC. But there's a new thing coming up, a new person, and will it be a waste or will it not be a waste? I think it's just adds more to the circus that is the United States of America. So we've had actors. We've had an actor, but which Ronald Reagan was, and then we've had most of our presidents are lawyers or businessmen. most of them lawyers, and and then they've spent time in Congress, and they've spent time, either as a senator or as a House of Representatives, or maybe a governor. I would like to see a mayor run for president. I would like to see some more governors run for president. I would like to see fucking even a city council member. Somebody who understands the inner workings of legislation and the judicial process, and also of the executive positions that are out there, and knows how to carry themselves well, which obviously Trump doesn't give a shit. He knows how to, anyway. But there's a new person coming on the horizon. So the DNC is, the first, it was Pence, not Pence, the guy that used to hang around with Bernie. Why am I thinking penis for some reason? The Hispanic dude. Garden. Who's that guy that you hung around? Pana? I don't know. Anyway, and then they were thinking Kamala Harris, and then they were thinking some other people. And everybody they threw out there, the DNC so far, has been shit. So now they're going to try to pull a Trump. They're going to try to Trump him and bring on, you get a car, and you get a car, and you get a car. Look under your seat. It's me. I'm running for office. Holy shit. So from a fucking reality show fucking doorknob to coming up a daytime TV talk show host, that Hollywood's put together for us again, and fucking, and then you're going to have MSNBC and sit in and boost it up. Now that's what's coming. It's in the works. I'm not sure if people are taking it, but if you know this woman's history, she's hung around with some big players, and none of them give a shit about you. Soros, the 1%, just all over the place. Okay, it's just Walmart people, fucking Home Depot people. I mean, yeah. Oprah and Hillary Dominic. 2020, bro. Look into your seat. More of the same. Exactly, Matt. That's perfect. That's all you're gonna look under your seat, because you're gonna get the same fucking shit. You're just gonna get hosed, with a cold, icy cold hose. Hosed. I'm not gonna go into detail on what that actually includes. And then we'll have Jerry Seinfeld, according to Evan, ambassador to Palestine. All right, obviously this is working fine. Everything's doing well. But it's just, the world is laughing at us. The world is literally fucking laughing at us, man. Laughing. We are a fucking joke. I am going to show you something that is pretty interesting. And it's from We Are Change, this guy Luke and this other kid that's Frank's, I don't know what the other guy's name is. I like the show. I like what they have. They're very similar to what we're talking about. Hopefully one day I can get Luke on here. I'm pretty sure I can. The guy's just full of energy. But he's like, the thing about him, he edits his YouTube. It's not live all the time. So he'll say something, and then you'll see it click, and then he's like this, the next scene. And is in the... I'm just live. You're getting what you're getting. Jamal Thomas is the same way. Holly Seeliger is the same way. H.A. Goodman's the same way. Same progressive, same way. Cabin Talk, Claudia's the same way. A lot of us are just the same way. But he just edits the crap out of his shit, but it's good. But let me just grab this real quick. You're gonna and why I'm showing you this is it a waste or is it not a waste? And the reason why I'm bringing this up, because I think this is important. All right, let's see if Jim can even fucking do this right now. I'm in the wrong screen. I'm in the right screen. Jay Scott. Welcome, Jay Scott. Okay, so. Nope, that's not the right one, Jimbo. All right, let's see if I can Why isn't that coming up? Uh-oh. Oh, that's right. I clicked the wrong. Okay, here we go. Alrighty then. So if you look over here, right, and you grab this and you make it bigger, this is the recent, the UN versus Donald Trump, who's right, and then something about Hillary Clinton's wrong. But this is, I froze this on YouTube. But if you see this, these are all the people that said that Jerusalem is not is not the Israel capital that Trump claimed. So what I'm actually, and if you see all the people hit the green marks, all the green marks are the people that said, Trump, you're a fucking idiot. The X's are the people that no-showed, that weren't there at the time or just weren't around. But the people that did vote with Trump are Marshall Islands, Micronesia, Honduras, Guatemala, of course, Israel, Nauru, don't know where that is, Toga, which I think is in the Pacific Islands, and of course the United States. But what that is what a fucking waste that was for him to even declare that. I mean, just for him to even say that. I know this is a few days ago, maybe it's a little old, but what I'm saying is we are just wasting our time with the people that are currently in office right now. If it's a Democrat or if it's a Republican. Right now, these fucking people don't give a shit about you. The great thing about the Republicans is they show you. This, I've got the knives and I'm just going to fucking stab you and kill everybody if you're not a fucking Christian and if you're not white and if you're not making over $500,000 a year, or if you I'm just, whatever. Stereotype or whatever you want, or however you want about them. Some of them are poor and most of them vote against their own interests because they just don't have a fucking idea or clue that they're doing it, because they're watching Fox News all day long. But it is a waste that he did all that he said all that, and there was so much energy put into that. And then the UN just came back and slapped him in the face like, what are you, fucking nuts? And then that also shows you that I think we're really losing our grip. I think we're really losing our clout. No, not really losing. I think we've lost it. I think we've wasted so many opportunities to really be a viable state, to lead with the green technology, to lead with more humane ways of taking care of our people, or of taking care of our people that cross the border and come in here. Bring us, you're tired, you're weary, you're poor. Just doesn't chime in anymore, and we've just become just a fucking waste of just. It's like having. What's a good example? It's like having the greatest. It's like having the greatest bike on the street. Everybody gets a bike for Christmas, right? Say you're like 10 or 12 years old, you get a new bike, and you've got the best bike, man. It's just got everything on it. It's totally awesome, but you don't know how to ride it. You don't even know what it does. You can't use it properly. It is just a fucking waste of what is going on with our government. There's just a fucking total and absolute waste. Every single one of them that is inside of the, up on the Hill, House of Representatives and the Senate, they're all just a fucking waste. Just a giant, big, gigantic waste of fucking time. And they need to get out of there. All of them. Orrin Hatch. He's gone. He's out of here. But he was just brutal to this country. Brutal to this country. This isn't the first time U.S. stood alone on Israel. what we saw has happened many times before. Oh, that's good to know. But I'm just telling you, no, yes. I think I'm aware of that in my mind as I'm kind of searching back. Is a lot of people think that we're just, just the bitches to Israel, and Israel's our bitch, and we're their bitch. And I've kind of noticed that in the past a few times. Of course, we can't spread something we don't have. That's true. That's funny. We don't have democracy. We have a STD called corporatism, and that's what we are spreading. It is. It's the capitalistic. Oh, Lucas is so good. Very good, brother. We are in bed with it. Of course, we're in bed with Israel. We spoon. They spoon us. We spoon them. It's just in Saudi Arabia. This is really bad. In any case, it's just a fucking waste. We've got to get these the waste of time that we have out there. These people. If you want to call them people, the sludge and the slime and these fucking ghoulish fucking weirdos like Nancy Pelosi and fucking who's the turtle? Mitch McConnell, Turtle Man. They just get them out of here. They just need to go. Get some real people that really care about you. And you know who I think that is? It's not the Justice Democrats. No. I don't think it's these people. You know what I mean? And I'm bringing this up because I like bringing it up. See what it says right there? Right? This is the old lie is what the Tea Party went through. They brought them in and then they used them and abused them. The new lie is that the Justice Democrats. They're going to use them and abuse them. But you're still going to have the DNC controlling everything with their corporatist neoliberal powers. Same thing here. I'm going green. I think the Green Party, no more lies. I'm sick of the lies. When's the last time a Green Party member lied to you? Anybody know? Like literally lied to you because they were in bed with somebody else. Because their masters weren't you. When's the last time a Green Party member has ever done that to you? Well, they've never been in the Oval Office. And none of them, I don't think, have ever been in Senate or in the House of Representatives. But on the state level, they've had a few chairs here and there and a few seats. And from what I'm hearing, besides a couple traffic tickets and maybe some domestic acts, who fucking knows? I don't know. But they haven't done anything to warrant. They've held themselves pretty well. I mean, they're not. I've talked to these people. They really and truly, honestly care, and they don't take corporate money. They don't take big donor 1% money. They don't take corporate money. They need the funding. They need people to trust them. And why shouldn't we trust them? What has the fucking Democrats done for you in the past few decades? I mean, unemployment's crazy. They're saying it's like 8 or 9. No, it's not 8 or 9. Most people aren't working full-time. Walmart, if you go work at Walmart, you will never work full-time. Okay? You will never get benefits. Right? Home Depot's the same way. A lot of these large supermarkets, like Target, the only place that's really doing something for somebody is Costco. They're actually paying people a living wage, which is awesome. And the guy who runs Costco, I think he makes like $400,000 a year or something. He's got a cool little house, and he's fine. He's okay with that. But there's some people out there that don't give a shit, and the people that really don't give a shit about you, I'm telling you right now, I'm not just plugging the Green Party. I'm just saying, ask yourself. Ask yourself. What political party has lied to you the most? And it's both of them. They're a fucking waste. They are an absolute and total waste. Yes, they have done a few things in the past, and yes, there's a few things. There's some holidays, some good liberals activities that came out of the Democrats. Reason why you guys, have your holidays and vacation pay and a few other things. But soon they're just not giving a shit about that either. They're getting bad. They're starting to be seriously, slimily, heinously corrupted. And before it gets any worse, you've got to bring in a third party. What party, in my professional opinion, is poised to actually make a dent, to scratch the surface? Well, there's over 200 out there that have just been created since Bernie became the DNC / Hillary's cabin boy. You can pick those, or you can just go with one that's actually trying to do something. Anyway, that's what I'm saying. And it's not just a plug. It's just that we do need new people. We need a new party. We need new everything, because this is just getting way out of control. Trump is smart enough in his own sphere, real estate and public relations. Oprah is good at public relations. Neither should be POTUS. That's true, Garden. That's very well said. They're just, like I said, I would rather have a mayor of a city running for president. You know, I would rather have a governor running for president. I would rather have a Senate person that knows the rules, that's kind of been in and around. You know, I still don't see what the problem is if you had fucking Jill Stein. It's kind of crazy, but honestly, I am thinking to Jesse Ventura. What Jesse Ventura would look closer into being a Green member. You know, just he'd be driving around in the green machine, like he'd paint his fucking Harley hog all green and shit, and like, kicking back, man. I'm fucking Jesse Ventura, and I'm coming after you bitches. It would be cool, you know what I'm saying. Anyway, okay, so I'm gonna put this up. So this is Mana Talk with James. I actually fixed my YouTube, and by the way, in my YouTube, I had no idea. I don't know if there's some stupid stuff I put in my YouTube, but I'm a man, and I look, you know, we do things. But yeah, Oprah, that's going to be fucking insane. Trump, already ridiculous. But on my YouTube, I didn't know I should have made certain things private, and I didn't know how to do it, and I just figured out how to do it. So I had videos that I've seen and I put up there. I don't even know how I put them up. When I'm doing it on my phone, I have no idea. I'm just throwing shit up sometimes. You know, and somebody will show me something, and I'll put, oh, that's really cool. And the next thing you know, it's on my fucking YouTube for everybody to see. Hopefully, I've got a handle on it. Let me see. We need to get these people in here. Jesus Christ, you guys are going at it. I wasting your... You guys are typing. Your fingers, you're getting calluses. Let me throw up the Zoom link before this gets any worse. Oh, my God. Where is the invite? There it is. All right, so I'm going to throw this up. Anyway, let me tell you exactly what Mana Talk is. People that come on this show, in my professional opinion, they're brilliant. A lot of people, I mean, I am actually the moron in the group. And I call myself the Joey. You know, I'm the guy that's just kind of, I'm learning so much from these people that come onto the show, that come on to Mana Talk. It's amazing. There are some things, and I do have life experiences, and yes, I've been there and done that, and done this, and been there, and all around here, and whatever. But I've got to tell you something. I need to learn a lot more. I need to, you know, and the more I'm associated with the people that come on the show, the more I'm learning and the more I can help. And I think that's what's really going on. So let me see. Oh, man, did I turn off the live stream? Holy shit. No, it's up. It's up right now, right? Let me see. Yeah, it's live. It's up. Okay. All right. I'm gonna put this up. Oh my God! I clicked it off, and I thought it wouldn't go on if I clicked it off. That's fine. So there it is. What this is people come on here, and I'm just appreciative as hell, and I'm just really stoked that sometimes they do come on, and they have a lot of just great information, ideas, perspectives, and stuff like that I am still learning from. All of them. And even some of these new people that come in, that I learn from. And I learn about myself too, you know, and I learn some stuff that I need to, you know. So if you're not learning, this is what my grandfather said. And my grandfather, I thought, was a pretty smart kid. My dad too, but in a different way. He was a musician. He said, if you're not learning something every day, you're dead. That's what he said. So if I'm not learning something every fucking day, then I'm dead, and that's the truth. And I'm just glad that people come on. There it is, knocking at the door, and people come in, and they say hi and they say hello. Ryan from Australia, welcome, mate. Good to have you. And that's my monologue. Welcome, everybody. Howdy. Can you hear me okay, buddy? Check 1 2. Check
What
1 2.
up?
What up? Hey,
What's going on?
I don't know, but is it rude to say g'day?
Hang on, I'm not getting any volume.
Can you hear me okay? Hey Ryan, I had a few questions for you. It's kind of good that you came on, and I'm gonna go grab my hat out of. I bought a kind of a.
No, I'm not getting anything. I'm relying on YouTube.
Oh really? Oh, okay. And I'm echoing, and there's somebody else in here. I got to put on the gear. Okay. All right. Snork, another genius. It's good to have people from we have people from other countries, and we have people from other states, all over the states. We get people from Florida, we get people from Massachusetts, we get people from New York, we've got people from Michigan and Ohio, we've got people from West Virginia, we've got people from Tennessee.
Still not getting you.
I can hear you loud and clear though. We get people from Oregon and from Washington and all over the place, and it's good to have their perspective because we're getting kind of a national review. Okay, and then Rebels from Oregon, right? Amanda, you're from Washington or Oregon, and I'm hearing myself on Ryan's. He's probably going to have to mute.
Yeah, I've got Rebel.
Okay, so it's me. It's my.
Heads up, Snog.
So it's just me. Have I been that?
Heads up, Snog.
I can't hear Snork and I can't hear James, but I can hear you, Ryan.
Yeah, I can't hear James. I can hear Rebel.
I can hear Ryan and Rebel. I cannot hear Vaughn. I cannot hear James.
All right, what's going on, Evan? Can you hear me? Over.
Yeah, can hear Evan.
Okay, I can hear Snork now.
All right, can you guys hear me now?
Still can't hear you, James.
You still can't hear
No.
me? Am I on mute?
It looks like it's nice and warm in the snow fort.
Oh, it is. I don't even need my I don't need a jacket or anything.
Okay, I'm gonna unplug and plug my mic back in. I'll be back.
I can't hear James.
Okay, James.
James is.
I hear you, James, out in the other YouTube chat, but I can't hear you inside here.
Same.
Now
There you go.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think he lost us. Okay.
Are you in the igloo?
That's not funny, James.
Yep.
You're in the igloo.
Yeah.
No fort. It's a snow fort. Get it right.
Brr. Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Uluru. Nope.
I don't know anything about that.
Oh, hang on, James. They can't hear you out in YouTube. It's got to get both here. Sorry.
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Can you hear
I've
James
got
in the YouTube?
talk. No, I have one ear with with a YouTube chat and one ear with this chat, and I cannot hear you out in YouTube. Oop, there we go. No sound, so nope.
It's gonna be through
Nothing.
OBS if they can't hear you on YouTube, James. You're gonna your OBS. It's something with your OBS if they can't hear you on YouTube.
Can you guys hear us except for James?
Okay.
Eben looks like he's hiding from the apocalypse. Look at him.
It's really fun. I like it. It's roomy.
I have never done that, but it still looks
You got a heater in there.
Yep, I got a little space heater.
Wow.
I have.
What?
Perfect.
What we miss out on in Australia, huh?
a no coat.
Yep.
He is trying to fix it, everyone. Well, I can go on about Ayers Rock for a bit, if you. So Uluru is its Indigenous people's names, and its white person's name is Ayers Rock. It was discovered by some dude named Ayers a long time ago, when they decided that they were going to try and discover Australia. Instead of what they did is they went around the outside of Australia with ships and stuff, but no one actually measured the inside of Australia because it's such a harsh place to live. But then the white people, as white people do, come in and take over everything, and then the Ayers Rock, Uluru is like really significant in Indigenous people's culture. So the outback is enriched with uranium. Like we don't export as much as we could because of sanctions on countries and stuff. But yeah, it's a really iron heavy. The iron rusting is what makes the outback the color it is. That sort of dark orangey red tinge is rust. So it's iron in the soil, in the sand. So it's a really traditional site for Indigenous people. So they will never mine it. They will never mine it. It is what it is. And like I said the other day, they're trying to stop people from climbing it because they disrespect it. So, yeah. And changing topic, Jesse Ventura will only run for president if Howard Stern is his president. He'll be vice president. He said that. He said that He said that in an interview with Abby Martin.
Howard Stern. Why Howard Stern?
Don't know.
Oh, Howard Stern. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
I was thinking of
Radio
another
guy.
Howard. I was thinking of Dean Howard for some reason.
No,
like, what?
Howard Dean.
Yeah, Howard Dean. Yeah, not Howard Dean. Howard
Yeah,
Stern.
no.
I can understand Howard Stern. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's Uluru there in YouTube land. It's massive. It's huge. It's absolutely huge. And it's one big... Can you hear James on the YouTube? Mm-hmm. Rebel, can you hear me through the YouTube?
I was waiting for someone. Hang on, let me change ear. Okay, speak. Nope.
Okay, so he's going to fix it. He'll be right back. We'll try to fix it. He'll be right back.
Oh God, listening. No.
No, still can't hear him.
I'm actually hearing the beginning of the show. Yes. Oh, TechMove says that we are broadcasting to Periscope as well. Oh, that was a question. Are you? Yes, TechMove.
I don't know. Are you?
Oh wait, no, Evan does.
I'm in the snow fort. I have no idea what's going on in the world.
You want to just start the whole thing over?
James, did you get your new modem? Because I don't notice you mono lagging.
Monologuing.
I can hear you.
No. Yeah,
Yes.
Zoom. Not on YouTube yet.
You know the guy who used to sing that is now in... Well, he was in prison for child sex offences.
Oh, man. There's lightning happening now in the snow fort.
Hey, Shirley.
Hey, Cheryl.
ABBA has just done a sequel to their movie. I forget what it's called. The one where somebody just made a movie with ABBA songs, but that was partially written by one of the ABBA people. It did perform really well when the first version came out.
Man, there is a serious lag going on in between this chat and the YouTube chat.
I blame the snow for it.
Yeah.
Some radioactivity.
Oh, blame Ebon. That's easy, right?
Mhm.
Okay, when you want me to listen to the other one, tell me. I'm taking the earphone out. This is driving me bonkers hearing both. No, that's okay.
You know, if the FBI and the CIA raid Evan's house, he's going to be quite sweet where he is. Just needs to be quiet. They won't know he's there. His wife will go, I don't know where he is.
Quiet.
What was crazy? And I'm thinking,
Oh, there we go.
she did herself a disservice in her speech. I didn't watch the Golden Globes, but I heard it's a story about this black woman in 1948. She just died this year at 90. She
Awesome.
was raped. She was coming from church with other churchgoers, and 6 white men came up in a pickup truck and said, "You want to go with us?" And she said no.
What?
And they took her, came and grabbed her and took her, and they raped her and threatened her and said, "You don't have sex with us like you had with your husband. We're going to slit your throat." And
What
then
the
her husband,
fuck?
yeah, and that's why I don't know why Oprah brought that story up in her speech. Because like Yvette Carnell said tonight, she just dipped her story into the whiteness. It's like she just took away from it.
It was yeah, I watched a clip and I just went, wow. Just wow.
It looks like I'm working now, so on both Zoom and YouTube. So
Can't
now
hear you, James.
I can hear James.
I was like, oh shit, keep going through this
That's the main
again.
one.
Oh shit.
I'm sorry.
Anyway,
Do you remember what you did? So next time you remember, James.
yeah, I do. I instead of just turning off the line stream and turning it back on, I had to actually completely X out of the OBS and come back in.
Okay.
Just so you know, everybody with OBS, it's a lot of fun. It is. But anyway, I'll be back.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Just had a quick mean streak there.
Rebel, it's okay. Everybody's got, it's the yin and the yang, right? We're all a bit dark and we're all a bit light, right? Just kind of moves around. It's okay.
I'm a lot of dark and a little bit light.
Oh, crap. Let that person, can you let that person in? I just made you host. I've got to go to the thingamajig.
Who?
Somebody's at the,
Somebody's at the door.
at the door. Somebody's knocking at the door. Somebody's ringing the bell.
That's our theme song.
Do me a favor. Open the door. Let them in. Okay.
I did.
By the way, James, you might want to put the link to Zoom in the description for YouTube.
It's there.
Oh, look at that picture.
It's there. I used it to get in.
What picture? What am I missing?
Oh, garden gnomes.
Missing more of the damn garden gnome art.
Oh, I see.
I put art in quotations, by the way. They're digital mock-ups that I allow to run wild, mostly.
I love that one.
Although that one is based on an original one. So.
That one would look so good on my wall.
Yeah.
$99 plus shipping and handling, which is more than the price of the product.
That's so cool.
I'm kidding. They're not for sale. I don't have the ability to make them look right.
It's only for the elite member status of TYT subscribers.
Yep, it's one of the TYT perks. You get like a 50-cent printout of one of my art pieces. That's TYT's like benefits of membership. That's at the $100 level. Yeah, I had to finish up a couple of things, so I figured I might as well sit here and listen to you guys and chime in every once in a while.
This is gonna be the last time. Last night the snow fort will probably hold over. It's just gonna be above freezing next couple of days.
Well, that sucks. That's cool that like you've been streaming from this snow fort. It's too bad you won't have the opportunity to expand it either.
Yeah, I really wanted to make it at least twice as big, so I could put like a little table in here and my laptop, and my wife and my daughter could be in at the same time. I don't know. It's cool because you're just encaved in a big bundle of snow.
Yeah, you're sitting there in your t-shirt.
Yeah, that's what I was just
Pretty
about to
warm in
say.
there?
And no, oh my God.
That's crazy, man. Is it that warm in there?
Well, I've got a little space heater, and there's a sled that's as my door, so it traps all the heat in.
Nice.
Nice.
Snow's a pretty good insulator. Snork might know. Although I think ice is a better insulator just because it's more condensed. Is that right?
No, snow's better.
Why is that?
Because it's not as condensed.
Oh, okay.
Fluffy snow.
Well, we have ice here right now. My sidewalks and everything is iced over right now.
When we were kids, we used to build snow forts and then cover them in water, basically, to harden them.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would take snowballs and then dip them in water and then throw them at each other. So
That was a cool game.
Hurt. They hurt.
Yeah, but that is true. Like, if you want to make a good snowball for throwing, it's got to be wet. Make it really wet. It's basically make an ice ball.
Yeah, we would pour a bunch of water over snowballs and just let them sit out overnight. And then the next day we'd have a little armory, like a little, some armaments for the next day.
Well, you really can't do that today now because people are so triggered.
But we get fairly elaborate, like, snow trucks will pile up snow, like, by trees and stuff, and it'll end up being in this big mound. Well, we would dig into those mounds and create, like, 2 or 3 tiered snow forts out of them with, like, little tunnels and stuff and little ramparts.
I actually... Wow. Okay, I thought he was still in here. I actually got on just maybe a couple times on Twitter because I didn't want to get triggered, and I just put all my brain power to learning how to create a movie. And so I did a few short ones, and now I'm going to go in for a long one, and then the theme of it, of course, is going to be corruption. Trying to find like really old movies, back in the 40s and 50s where there was corruption video, like on TV or something. Get a timeline of the corruption, I guess.
Some university has a online database that you can download video clips from, and all of the things that have the royalties have expired. I'm trying to think what search you'd start for that. You can get all kinds of movie tone news and everything.
Oh, well, now I'm going to have to start all over. Okay. Which is good because there wasn't any wasteful time. At least gave me practice.
Well, I just wanted to add, because before I left the room, I heard Ebon say that snow is a good insulator. And I just wanted to add that snow is such a good insulator that even in the middle of January, with temperatures of -11, the garlic that I planted in October is still growing straight up and perfectly green throughout, like sticking out of the snow and like actually getting like bigger, like it's growing, like, which is like
Oh,
completely
wow.
because plants normally, will either die or at least stop growing when the temperatures get below 40 degrees. And the snow is doing such a good job insulating this, like in the mulch. I put down mulch earlier in the year. I put leaves and straw before winter came, but now there's so much snow on top of it that it's so well insulated that the garlic is like perfectly green. It's not turning yellow and like temporarily dying or anything. It's perfectly green. It's crazy.
Well, the Amish here use a lot of bleach. They cut the top off the bleach bottle, turn it over, and put it over their plants. They will start planting stuff as early as February in their gardens for their house, and put the bleach bottle over it, and then let the snow insulate it.
Yeah, making homemade cloches like that, you can use like 2-liter soda bottles too, and those work really well. Like if you just cut those in half and use the top half that had the little cap on it, because then whenever it's a hot day, you take the cap, like let it ventilate a bit.
I do have a question. What happened around 5 o'clock ish that I would just build the goddamn wall? I mean, people were just, my feed all of a sudden flooded.
Are they talking about the border wall,
Yeah.
Trump's border wall? I don't know. Did something happen?
And I don't know. I looked all in the newses. I looked all around and couldn't.
Well, it's
Maybe
something
Twitter
about several 100,000 Salvadorians he may be deporting.
I don't know. That's the dumbest idea I've ever heard. One of the dumbest, maybe not the
But what
dumbest.
cracks me up, Obama he was the deporter in chief. You didn't hear about it in mainstream media. But Trump's doing it. He has deported less.
Well, it was just kind of weird because it happened so fast and that nobody else's feed was getting through, and all of a sudden I see the scrolling going down of build that goddamn wall, or I live there, I want the wall, and it's like, well, who? It's like, wow. My question is what gate got opened? Because
well, sometimes
it
Twitter
probably was.
similar posts, like like it'll to see how you react and like to see what, like they do psychological experiments. Facebook does the same thing, where they'll show you a series of
that was too weird.
that are like similar or that are complete opposites. Like it might be the same issue, but it'll be like 2 different sides of the debate, and they want to see where you stand on it. So they're gonna like check and see which links you click on,
Yeah,
and then
this wasn't that.
and if you share.
This was not that. Something happened today that just got some people pissed.
I think it's about the Salvadorians.
Huh.
That's been here. Several 100,000, I believe. And they're going to let them go.
You mean they're going to deport them back to El Salvador, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is ridiculous. Like,
Did he
can't
make
do
that
that
speech?
to people.
Well,
when did he make that speech?
The Dreamers are all going to get deported because the Democrats didn't stand up for them.
Yeah, and like if you've noticed, like they've been talking about using DACA as a playing piece recently, as a type of currency. Like Trump mentioned that he was using it or something as some form of currency. I forget the tweet, but yeah, I mean it's just another game piece to them, and you can trade it for this or that, I guess, right?
Well, the thing is that they want to use it to win in 2018. Like they want to get the Dreamers votes, but the thing is that they're going to make sure that all the Dreamers are deported before the elections come around.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, the Dreamers' votes don't really matter to them. I mean, we're talking about and the other thing is, I mean, the Dreamers don't really have any effect on the immigration issue to begin with. We're talking about such a small portion of the population. The whole thing's absurd. You can't take some kid who grew up in Southern California or something and throw him down in San Cristobal or some ghetto in Mexico City or El Salvador. I mean, it's just beyond belief.
Oh, Matt is saying, I heard something about a specific form of visa being revoked earlier today. It was about 4:00 p.m. when they were talking about it on NPR. That could have been it.
So if they're revoking visas, that would mean that a bunch of people who came here legally would now be illegal immigrants, which is how most illegal immigrants come here, because
He
they come
said
here legally.
specific form, though. I don't know which one that would be. How many types of visas do we have here?
A lot. The one that I'm most familiar with is the H-1B, which is like the work visa that all the giant corporations take advantage of to hire migrant workers. That way they don't have to pay Americans fair wages. And because Americans do those jobs.
Thank you, Matt.
Well, the Democrats are about to give up DACA because they still think they got the black vote, because they can't win without the black vote.
Yeah, that's why, like, that's what it always gets me. Like, the African American vote, the reason why they go after it so freaking hard every time is because people vote in blocks, and they go down there and get them every time, and it's usually just that enough to put the Democrats over. And the right does the same thing with evangelical Christians.
Right.
And like, except the only difference is the GOP actually listens to the evangelical Christians, whereas the Democrats don't listen to the African American community.
Isn't that just fucked up?
Do you think that's why they're pushing Oprah Winfrey to run?
I don't think Oprah's going to run. This is just some sideshow. If she does run, I
She
mean,
don't
Jesus
stand a
Christ. Like,
chance.
I guess I said the same thing about Trump too.
Yeah, we can't say that anymore, huh?
My husband told me tonight he would vote for Mark Cuban. I'm like, I wouldn't vote for him.
Mark Cuban? No way. Who would vote for Mark Cuban? It's crazy. Is this, I mean, why are we pulling these people out of the entertainment and communications industry?
Yeah.
I mean, these people are not qualified for government.
Trump was the accidental president.
Maybe they're making it so you have to be a billionaire and you have to be like a showwoman or something in order to run for president. So it just makes it harder and harder to be one or run for one.
Well, they model it on Reagan to a degree. Like, oh, Reagan, like, he was in the movies. I mean, but he was also like governor of California, and like he had a long history of at least being involved in politics on one level or another. I mean, I would say Reagan was great, but at least he was more qualified than like Oprah or Trump.
Well, it's funny. Reagan, there was a few different things like that he had the potential to be like the greatest president in history, and then because people around him, that got fucked up, because one of the things is that Ronald Reagan didn't actually hate unions.
Beautiful.
He actually was the head of this. He was actually the head of the Screen Actors Guild, like SAG, that in their union, and like the president of their union. And so he thought the unions served a place in this country and that they actually, served a purpose. But because the people around him, his administration did, had one of them. They really set a lot of the precedents for the union busting that took place in this country. And then also another way he could have been the greatest president ever is that he had the option to do total nuclear disarmament with Russia. Like both the United States and Russia would have gotten rid of all of their nuclear weapons overnight. But because no one in his administration would tell him that Star Wars was an impossibility, he said no. He said that we're gonna keep the nukes.
Well, are you familiar with the air traffic controller strike under Reagan?
Yeah,
he busted them up.
I mean, we could blame that on his staff or whatever, I guess, but You know, I guess we could blame all of his decisions because really after Carter, presidents, except for George Sr., they increasingly became puppets of wider interests. Now, George Sr. was already a part of some wider interests, so he was more of an installation candidate than some of these other people, less of a figurehead, I should say.
Well, the interesting thing about the air traffic controller strike, if I remember I think I read somewhere that the president of the air traffic controllers threw them all into the bus by advising them to do the wrong thing, specifically so that their union would get busted. And then he ended up getting a job in the private sector afterwards, or he got his payoff somewhere after that.
That's completely possible. I haven't heard that, but
I haven't looked into it.
That they undercut him like that. I mean, you see that kind of stuff happen with a lot of unions. Like they just somehow co-opt the head of the union, and then the whole thing goes to hell.
But some of them unions kills me when they go on a retreat every year for something. I'm like, well, wait a minute, isn't this union payers' money they're using? I know it's a big thing about it here in Philadelphia with the blue collar workers. They used to do a retreat every year over in the islands. And I'm like, how they can afford that? They using the union members' fees.
I mean, and every
And
president.
Well,
sorry,
and when they on strike, they don't get paid, and they still had to pay their union fees.
Yeah, I remember my father being in a lot of strikes when he worked at Boeing. This is back in the 1990s.
Mhm.
I don't know exactly what was going on. I just know he wasn't working. He just go to where they had like signs and just kind of wait. I mean, it was still like a normal work day, really. Just he wasn't getting paid. I was like what, 10, 11 back then, so I didn't know what was going on really.
Yeah, but I know now when SEPTA here in Philly go on strike, those union workers are not getting paid when they on strike, but they got to pay their union dues.
I know. I think that sucks. I remember my stepdad, he was a trucker, and so he was in Teamsters, and there were like a couple times where he was on strike, and he still had to pay certain things while he was on strike.
Yep.
Yeah, it's interesting if you learn about like the history of the labor wars and union busting and like all the thugs that would have to come fight the unions. Like it drives me insane when people, like, whenever you talk to people about corporations having the power to have people assassinated, if they want to, and being able to hire thugs to intimidate people they want to, they call you a conspiracy theorist. But if they just learned about the history of the labor wars in this country and like where all of our modern day benefits, like the weekend and where all that stuff comes from, that all comes from unions who went through like literal wars to get that stuff, like that, and tons of union leaders throughout the history of the United States were assassinated and murdered and pushed down mine shafts and blown up in explosions. I mean, it's insane what's gone on in this country, and thousands of especially in the mining towns, like the miners in Colorado and West Virginia, they all went through a lot. And a lot of miners have died in this country for us to have just basic workers' rights. And a lot of those basic workers' rights are now gone.
Well, the Pinkertons are still around. I mean, that in itself is crazy to me, that organization continues to exist.
Yeah.
They have like, what, 150 years of this bullshit behind them.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder. It makes me wonder about like the future of private military organizations like Blackwater. Are they going to still be around in 100 years?
I'm sure. I mean,
Hey,
Eric,
I got good news. My progressive DA that was elected, who I voted for, he went in and started cleaning up house. He got rid of 31 DAs. And he said the people have spoken. So he's starting to do something what he campaigned on.
Wow, that's pretty good. Did you
That
guys
And
that
he,
is good news. That is so somebody's actually doing what they campaigned on, and they're
yeah,
making a
and
difference.
plus,
So yeah,
he's talking about that high bill. Give people bail that they can afford, and not the high bill. Cause like when they arrested my son, they gave him $50,000. I'm like, what?
for what, like a traffic ticket or marijuana or what?
No. Well, listen, I told you the story before.
Oh,
He was driving. He stopped at a stop sign. He saw the cops behind him. He drove off, and they said, and he said, I know they checking my license plates. And then he drove and parked and went on his friend's block, and they came up with guns drawn. And my son is licensed to carry.
oh,
Only thing my son was stupid was he had weed in his car.
oh.
But anyway, I had to go through a bunch of stuff today to get his stuff back. So it's crazy.
$50,000.
Yeah,
That's so
because
much.
No,
even
there's zero property damage. No one got hurt, right?
no.
$50,000
And when
will
they
break
saw
a
that,
person.
they were excited because he had a gun, and they called somebody upper before they took him in, and they said you can't charge him for that. He's licensed. So what they did charge him with was distributing, intent to distribute because he had the gun.
Can distribute a gun?
No, it was intent to distribute the marijuana because he had a gun.
Oh, because
So what did
he
what
had a
did he
bunch of
hit?
kilos. Did he have like 5 or 6 kilos in the trunk?
No,
Like less than
no,
an ounce?
Probably like a
yeah,
roach, right? You have a little roach.
Personal use, like a few joints, something like
yeah,
that.
Something could have flicked
because
out the window.
he loves smoking weed.
Doesn't everybody?
But my
I do.
Yeah.
well,
Sure.
I work in
See, that's ridiculous. I mean, people shouldn't flee from the cops, and they shouldn't be driving around with weed, okay? But we can't break a person over this kind of shit, and $50,000 will break you. Like, and
yeah,
it'll only snowball into more because you can't pay the fines, and all of a sudden you're in jail because you can't pay the fines, and
that's what I was telling my husband. I said somebody could lose their job, you know, and then the charges get dropped because his charges was dropped.
they were all dropped.
All dropped.
Nice.
Because it was a violation. We had to get a lawyer. It was a violation, a moving violation. They shouldn't have stopped him. Well, they not stop him, but they shouldn't even have approached him because he was parked.
Oh, that's dodging a bullet. Lucky.
Are you able to get any type of like reparations or something like that for that whole trouble?
Hell no. Today it was crazy. I had to go to 3 different places. I went to the Criminal Justice Center for his hearing to get his money back and his gun. Then we had to go across the street afterwards to City Hall he had to fill out paperwork. And then they said you got to go to 8th and Race. Well, they made me feel like I was a criminal there. They didn't have no waiting area. We had to stay in the vestibule, and it was freezing here. And all the time, the front door is open. The wind is just blowing on us. And it took about an hour to get a check. And the cash he had on him. It took an hour. And now he still got to go to another place to get his gun.
Well, nowadays, even like, a speeding ticket or something is going to cost you $300-400.
Well,
Some traffic violation.
just think about the bureaucracy though that she's going through right now. Like to get that, like in olden days, if the police took your stuff, you went to the station where the police officer
Yeah.
and you got it back. Like it was in the evidence locker, and you asked for it, and they would go and pull out the bag, and they would bring it to you, and that was that. It took 10 minutes. Like think about like how like they basically want it to be so complicated and difficult that you just give up and let them keep your stuff.
Well, they impound people's cars too, and then like give them a super hard time about getting them back.
Did you read an article that Jamal posted, where I think it was a town in Alabama or in I don't know, somewhere in the South, where the mayor and police and a couple of I don't know, district the higher ups, like DAs or whatever, they got taken down. Like they were taking like a couple thousands of dollars by doing that, like stopping people, doing that, where they take money from them.
Yeah,
Was
forfeiture.
Civil
forfeiture.
forfeiture.
There we go. That and
Yeah, what Sessions want to do.
yeah. Well, it's in the state that Jeff Sessions is wherever he's at, and they actually got them. The townspeople got them out. I don't know how. That's what I want to know. It's like, how do you get a mayor, a whole bunch of police officers under them, and a bunch of judges out of your town from corruption?
You'd have to do some kind of recall, I think. Like you have to do a petition and get enough people to sign it, and then have a referendum to recall the politician. And then if you get the overwhelming majority, then I think the politician has to step down.
Well, you could get the FBI involved too. And
Yeah.
the FBI is always looking for excuses to go into southern states. There's like the reason why like the federal government supported the civil rights movement has really not much to do with civil rights, in my opinion. It's because they wanted to expand federalism into southern states. The southern states, even in the 60s and stuff, even today to a degree, are still resistant to federal authority. Like if you go into a hotel in Mississippi, all right, and you're a federal employee, like in most places, like you go into a hotel and the tax is eliminated because you're a federal employee. Not in Mississippi. Like they'll still tax you the same, and there's still all kinds of weird, like little laws down there that are holdovers from the era where they were able to resist federalism. So did they get I wonder if they got the FBI or the feds involved in some way, and that's how they broke the racket. You know anything about that?
Well, that movement. Did that movement first start? Well, I shouldn't say first start. Never mind. What I was gonna say, I answered my own question as I was thinking about how to state it. So never mind.
Oh, that's cool. I wish I could do that.
Hey guys, another thing I have to tell you. We were in court at 8 a.m. and through the day we didn't get home till 1 something. And then when we got down to where to get his money back, they were like 5 other black young men about my son's age was getting their guns back and the money the cops took from them. So it's like they stop you and you may have something on you and the charges get dropped. They have to get a lawyer. A lot of people can't afford that.
So they're basically doing stop and frisk in a state where stop and frisk isn't supposed to be legal.
Oh no, it's legal here.
Oh, it is?
It is legal here for my former mayor.
Oh, damn.
It is here.
And the new mayor claimed he was going to stop it. Then when he got elected, his punk ass, because he put that sugar tax on us, he gonna say, "Well, we gotta do a little better with it." But actually, the crime rate,
The what tax?
Sugar tax.
What is that?
Drinks.
Sodas, juices, even milk with sugar.
It wasn't it Giuliani or was it Bloomberg who first tried to do that?
Bloomberg that did that. Because I don't think it passed. And what happened was the doctor that Bloomberg had in New York to try to pass that, my new mayor, grabbed him from New York. I said that he gonna pass that sugar tax. Then when he was in city council, he voted against it.
This is some Revolutionary War shit. A goddamn sugar tax. This is unbelievable.
I mean, it really raises your grocery bill.
Yeah.
Australia is going to have
Holy
that soon.
shit.
They're
To
going to
help
implement
support
that.
pre-K and kindergarten. I'm like, Comcast is building a new big a center taller than the one they already have in Center City, tax free.
I know.
Fuck Comcast. I mean, that's just ridiculous. I mean, the fact that we have a sugar tax or a soda tax or a sales tax, even, you know, like I get if you have like a local sales tax because you know that helps raise a lot of money locally, you know, because a lot of times the property taxes will go towards the school and then sales tax will go towards you know, the roads or whatever, or towards, you know, paying the local workers' salaries. But having that stuff on the national level, on the state level, is just ridiculous because that's all regressive taxes that punishes poor people more than anything, and the rich people don't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. They put sugar in everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, it's not really sugar in a lot of stuff. It's high fructose corn syrup.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like,
So
someone
I
needs
don't consider that sugar.
So they put it in everything on purpose.
I was about to bring that up.
I think. Can you hear me?
And
Yeah,
Chicago, they repealed their sugar tax. They took that back. Because that state did not need no tax like that.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can hear you, Ryan. You're just quiet.
I am like slow sometimes to just work through stuff, and after processing, it's like, hey, wait a minute, you know.
Yeah, we're going to have that tax soon. They're talking about it now.
So you go to a fucking grocery store and you can't get anything hardly at all without added sugar in it. So that's kind of a racket.
Mm-hmm.
Motherfucker.
Yeah, well, you can thank the sugar industry for that though, because they made sure to run this junk science smear campaign against fats starting in the 50s and really ramping up in the 70s, and it's still around today because they market it so hard. And you know, they try to convince everyone that low fat, you know, is good, or that no fat is good, and that fats are bad. Fat is evil. Fat makes you fat. Because that's just common sense, right? Well, no. In reality, that's not how fat is absorbed in your body. There's good fats and bad fats. There's good carbs, bad carbs. But what they did is they realized that when you take all of the butter and lard and, you know, beef tallow and all the fats out of food, that makes the foods taste really, really bad. So what do? They add a ton of salt and sugar. And the sugar industry made billions of dollars that way. And, you know, now they're trying to maintain that. So they, you know, are making sure that sugar is put into everything.
And you know what else they used to do? Remember they used to say pork, especially in the black community, because we eat pork a lot. That's what causes us to get diabetes and other things, and heart disease. And now you see commercials, the new white meat, pork.
Yeah, that's been out here for decades. That new white meat. But on the sugar thing, they replaced fats with sugar because they found out that sugar is a good preservative of food. So they had all these low fat, no fat products, but it's like chock full of sugar as a preservative.
Give me the straight dope.
Well,
Don't.
that would be a small part of it, but in America, at least, like there's a lot of documents from the sugar industry themselves of scientists that they specifically paid off, like, and they were like the rock stars of their day when it came to science. Like there was actual scientists who weren't getting press coverage because they couldn't afford to get their message out there. That had the stuff at the time saying fats aren't bad, fats aren't unhealthy, we should be eating fats. But all of the scientists that got coverage were paid by the sugar industry to get the results they wanted. And they published a bunch of fraudulent studies saying that fat, made you fat, fat caused diabetes, fat caused heart disease, all that, blah, blah, blah. And that way, they could put sugar in everything to make it taste better. And then now, ever since then, people have been fatter than ever, and there's more heart disease than ever. Although I will say, I'm pretty sure that air pollution is the number one cause of heart disease. Snort, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're pretty much right on. High sugar levels.
What you do is grab.
They're finding that
because I've done this before. Get a toilet paper roll. Okay.
Glutamates cause nerve damage that might lead to some heart disease. And Alzheimer's. Glutamate accelerates Alzheimer's.
So like MSG would accelerate Alzheimer's?
Yeah.
And so all the fancy code names like yeast extract and autolyzed vegetable protein and like all those things also would accelerate that.
I'm not sure about all of them, but my father was on medicine expressly to reduce his susceptibility to glutamates, like what was accent MSG.
So is there glutamate found like in natural like sugars, like in fruits and vegetables?
All kinds of stuff.
Well,
even in Domino's pure cane sugar.
No, there would be no glutamate in Domino's pure cane sugar. That's a plus for them.
Yeah, that's what I use.
I definitely want to talk to you.
So Snork, have you read there was like a theory that was put out a couple months ago, and it was a theory that they were saying that Alzheimer's might be like type 3 diabetes, and that it could be like insulin resistance of the brain. Like, did you ever read that, or get any opinion on that?
Well,
or that could be a part of it at least.
I would say it might be treated like a diabetes. I remember something surrounds the neurons, and the glutamate strips it down. But I'm no doctor and I'm no medical neuron researcher.
Okay.
Oh, how do you pronounce that drug company, Pfizer?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they have officially ended their research study on Alzheimer's. They will no longer do it.
Of course,
somebody's pretty much figured it out and no money.
Yep.
No, that's not why.
And also, it's not just one disease.
Well, that's
They've abandoned their research on. They've abandoned their research on more than one disease. Is that what you're saying?
No. Alzheimer's is not one disease.
I see.
Oh, so it's like cancer, where like cancer covers a huge variety of different kinds of mitosis.
Yeah, Alzheimer's can be caused by vascular damage. It can be caused by, like we just talked about, the susceptibility to glutamates. There is ones that plaque forms and just basically starves or the neurons of blood and nutrients, and so they're different variants, and all of them require testing, and not enough money is actually put toward addressing it, considering the number of people we have that are currently approaching 70.
Hey,
but Snort, isn't there a certain amount kinds of food or drinks that help causes Alzheimer's too?
It's called the
Again,
American Diet. That's what it's called. Okay,
yeah.
so here's just a perspective, just me with my perspective and a little theory. So if we actually find a cure, not by a pill form, or if they actually find a way to halt or stop or prevent Alzheimer's, there's a lot of medications out there for Alzheimer's, and Pfizer is they are big pharma. So would it be profitable to continue research, or would it not be profitable?
No, it would not be profitable. We currently have no system for rewarding them for ending a disease.
There it is.
Exactly.
Yeah, pretty much. There we have no cure. We have no cure for the STD of the capitalistic system of the United States of America, right, Lucas? Oh, Lucas
Yeah.
is near. Yeah, exactly. I thought that was fucking hilarious, dude.
That was great.
Yeah.
Well, that's just like the breast, the march, that pink thing for breast cancer. They raise all that money every year. I know they got millions and millions of dollars.
Oh,
I'm
that
quite
Keith
sure it's going
Coleman
to
or
the
something like that.
CEOs.
Yeah, well, 50% of what the Susan G. Komen Foundation raised going to her at the
Yeah, and I'm like, where are some cures?
People call me an asshole, like when they see me not donating, or at least they don't do it all the time, but I have been called an asshole before for not
Imagine
donating
that.
to things like that, right? Because
No, I
someone
don't.
will come up to you and like they'll be like, "Do you want to donate for breast cancer?" I'll be like, "No." Like if I was sure that my money was going to go towards a cure for breast cancer, or to even alleviate the suffering of people who have breast cancer or something,
Right.
like I might donate. But sorry, like we know what these large donation organizations are all about. They're untrustworthy. It's a
I
goddamn.
think
That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
well, yeah,
they Gordon, I think they're along with the pharmaceutical companies.
well, and most of the major medical discoveries that are made on a regular basis are made by public researchers and universities. Like that's what really, you could say triggers me whenever I hear people talking about how we need the private sector for innovation when it comes to like healthcare and all that. And when it comes to drug companies, it's like, no, you
They're
fucking
not.
don't. Like
They're
most
not.
of the best medical research has been made using public money, and a lot of it has actually been made with the military budget. Like there's been a lot of medical breakthroughs that have come from the military budget, and a lot of scientific breakthroughs that have come from from the extremely high military budget and from all the research that goes into the military. A lot of the things that we use every day came from military breakthroughs. So I hate when people give me the bullshit about how we need the private sector for that kind of stuff. It's like, the profit motive of the private sector just completely takes away all of the actual incentives for innovation.
It's done in their
Well, a lot of
backyard.
our
It's done.
military.
It's hold on. It's sorry, Shirley, but what Snork is doing, what you're doing, Lucas, what you guys are experimenting, working with your plants, doing. I mean, there's so many things. Things are invented. Technology is. There's so many innovative and new ideas that are coming out of people's garages, basements, studies, stuff like that. And then when these companies, these private sector companies, get these funded for gazillions of dollars, and they really never really have anything substantial to show for it ever. That's a sad thing.
Isn't that crazy?
Wrong.
And a lot of the military is privatized. You got them contractors getting paid triple the money that the U.S. soldiers make.
Yeah. Well, I guess my thing wasn't necessarily that the entire military budget, is good, or that it should be high. I was just saying that a lot of the best scientific breakthroughs when it comes to technology and medical science and medical technology actually came from the military and their research. Like it didn't come from even like the medical field's research.
That's true, but it's unfortunate that that's the case in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I mean, what we need is an economy that's based around making the world better, We
Yeah.
need a process of development and innovation that, you know, drives the betterment of humanity, where technology is not filtered down through us because someone created a different component for a rocket, but because they created a desalinization system. You know, they were able to invent a component that has multiple uses all over the place. I mean, that's the kind of world that we need.
Yeah. Well, and I just wanted to say before I forget, Snork, that there's a guy named Matthew Walker who's the head sleep researcher at UC Berkeley, and he wrote a book called Why We Sleep that I'm currently in the midst of reading. And he is like the world's top sleep neurologist scientist. Like he's like the foremost expert on like everything sleep. That's why I got his book. And he was actually, and you know, from his research and what they've done so far, and all of the amazing breakthroughs that have happened in the last decade with sleep research, is that, you know, one of his things is that when it comes to Alzheimer's, one of the leading causes is actually sleep deprivation and not getting the proper sleep throughout your lifetime, and like, you know, cumulatively, and like not having like a regular like sleep schedule and all that. And so he, you know, his cure that he would prescribe is you know, just try to get a regular good night's sleep. You know, go to bed the same time every night, wake up the same time every morning, and try to do that for the rest of your life. And like that's like his best way to prevent Alzheimer's. And he is a neurologist, so I'm not just talking out of my ass here.
Well, we're all fucked then, because I don't think none of us are getting enough sleep.
I've been trying to get a regular schedule.
Yeah, me too.
I get a regular schedule. It's just very late.
Well, my old Italian neighbors, they were elderly, and the husband had got Alzheimer's, and he was always on a regular schedule going to bed, and he happened to get Alzheimer's. So I don't believe it's just that.
Well, not just that, but that's just one of his from his research and his experience. You know, getting a regular sleep throughout your entire life can really help and prevent it. And like Snork said, there's Alzheimer's isn't just one disease, you know, it's a combination. And so it could prevent, you know, certain types of Alzheimer's and maybe not certain others. You know, it depends on what they're brought upon by. But in his research, there's a lot of like, you know, for a long time, humans have been asking the question, why do we need sleep? And, you know, now the appropriate question is, why don't we? Because like there's so many different functions that sleep performs for us every single night. And, you know, sleep medications and like, you know, like the Valium and like all this kind of stuff that's supposed to help you go to sleep at night is not actually good. Like you don't actually get a good night's sleep, you know, like it actually disturbs your sleep and keeps you from dreaming. And same with like sedatives, like being sedated is not the same thing as being asleep. And so he talks about how you need to like train yourself, like don't ever be in your bed unless you're actually going to bed and like going to sleep, because like then your brain will create like an association with your bed that's sleep time. So like the second you hit your pillow, you're going to be out. And you know, one of the things he recommends is trying to schedule yourself with the sun, depending on if you're a lark or a night owl. So like larks are like morning people, and the people who like going to bed earlier and getting up earlier. And then like the night owls are the people who can't fall asleep until late, and then they wake up, you know, in the afternoon. And he explains like the evolutionary reasons for both of those kinds of people to exist, and how night owls historically have been discriminated against in society because people have never understood sleep until now. Most people still don't understand sleep.
Lucas, what's his name real quick?
Yeah, it's a really good book. I highly recommend all of you read it. It's Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker.
Okay, thank you. Sleep,
Somebody may call me a conspiracy theorist, but I believe a lot of disease we have out here that's been out here for years, they have a cure for it, but they're not going to let you know about it because the medical industry would lose money.
Oh, I'm sure.
On that one.
Do you remember that movie Outbreak with Dustin Hoffman? And that virus broke out, and they happened to find that they had a cure in this lab in the freezer.
Well,
I guess nobody saw that movie.
Speaking of that, didn't they just lift the ban on experimenting with deadly organisms? There was a ban. And they just lifted it recently.
Well, I think it was that they weren't allowed to release them on civilian populations, and then that was the one that they banned. They released that.
There was a research component to this, like where you couldn't, let's say, experiment with bubonic plague or something, and like now you can. Like it's not just, it has nothing to do with releasing the organisms. It's just
I just remember
there's
reading.
some change in the. There's
I
some
need to
change in the
interrupt a
research
minute.
protocols.
Evan, you need to tell me how to do it because I don't know where that place is.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, what are you talking about?
How to unblock
No,
somebody.
you told me how to do it. I already unblocked them from my channel.
Oh, shut up, Amanda. Go ahead.
Right. So, also, I want to chime in. Just like, imagine all the cures that you can have for disease. Just like that one guy who charged so much for those insulin shots or something like that.
It was EpiPen.
What it was or what his name was.
I barely can hear Ebon.
I can barely hear him.
Can you guys hear me now?
He's
Yeah.
talking
Yeah, I
about
can hear you.
the EpiPen that was charged like 700% more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when you find a cure or something that'll ease symptoms, you don't make a lot of money because if you charge a lot, you get a whole bunch of bad feedback. Unless the actual cost of what it is that high, but it's not going to be. So you're not going to make a lot of money. So I think, Shirley, if you have a cure, they're going to do whatever it takes not to let that cure out because that cure is never going to make any money. So
Right.
it's better to spend money to treat symptoms or make money treating symptoms than it is to cure the underlying problem.
Yeah, to keep Americans sick.
Yeah.
Keep everybody sick.
Well, and
Yeah.
I think it's funny that you said people might call me a conspiracy theorist because a lot of people would call you that, but in reality, that's just a logical thinking person because people on this planet aren't motivated by good intentions for the most part. And you maybe call me cynical and negative or whatever, for that. But I'm a student of history, and historically, people are terrible. Like people have just always been awful and treated each other with like no respect, no dignity. I mean, the Holocaust happened. Like that's a thing we can't just ignore. Like it happened. The Civil War happened because people were enslaved. Humans have been terrible to each other forever. So it would not surprise me at all to know that there are cures for, a dozen diseases out there, locked in a fridge somewhere, but in some, private, rich, billionaires like basement that none of us know about, that everyone in his family might have received, but none of us are going to know about it ever. I am sure that there are cures for diseases that are kept on the DL for a reason, right now, and not a good reason, just because they want to make money.
I'm not
like
sure.
I said, they ain't make that movie Outbreak for nothing because that was a good movie. I said, you know what? I really believe they got something in a freezer to cure AIDS and other diseases. You got all these organizations raising money every year for the cure. Well, when the cure going to happen?
Well, I'm not sure if like it would be specifically super wealthy individuals or like these organizations that quote have the cure, but I would imagine that the military has developed cures for a lot of things that are afflicting the population.
Yeah, I wonder how many biological weapons are currently on store in the United States military, because that's something you never hear journalists mention that. You hear it mentioned in video games, but you never really hear it mentioned in except whenever they accuse other countries of doing it. And so I wonder how many the United States has, on lockdown, because I've seen the facilities where they keep, the bubonic plague virus and all that on lockdown. And where they like how I mean, like you have to go through vault after vault after vault to get to that stuff. So it's like I wonder like where they keep all of the biological weapons that they've developed.
Well, this topic, if I wasn't, I got to keep my eye on this thing, but if I wasn't looking at it, like this was brought up recently because of the new protocols in handling some of these deadly microorganisms. Like they did something with the protocols around handling them. I'll have to look into it more to be specific, but because they changed the protocols, there's more discussion about, hey, what does our biological weapon stockpile look like? What is our biological weapon? I mean, supposedly we're not supposed to be researching biological weapons, but of course we do, and we've openly kept stocks of them in certain places. Like I think the Center of Disease Control has a stock of some of these deadly organisms and whatever. But again, recently they've changed it, so if someone wants to look that up.
You know, I've never ever in my life wanted to sound like a wacky conspiracy theorist, but I swear to God, now that what they said about that's their way of keeping the population down, so it's in a controllable amount of people to let us.
Yeah, they call it the New World Order.
But I'm starting to believe that. It's like.
Well, just remember where the term conspiracy theory came from. That was invented by the CIA to smear people who were doing private and independent investigations of the JFK assassination. And every single day, like the more we learn about what the United States government is doing, the more it looks just like the CIA killed Kennedy. And I'm 99% sure that's what happened.
Oh, yeah, it all comes back. So why is the UN in Chicago?
Because the police commissioner asked them. I seen Progressive did a video on that last week, and she said, yeah, they got the UN tanks out there hiding in a warehouse factory, and they don't want you to see it.
What happened to the National Guard?
Yeah, they just flipped from the National Guard.
Isn't that what the National Guard is to do? Is if the police can't handle certain things. So people are saying, since we're getting into the NWO, which seems, honestly, guys, it kind of seems like we're fucking going in that direction. And it's not what,
yes, we are.
not what the right side. So when you bring in the UN to Chicago, it's like, and give them a reason to come in, and you give them a reason to go to this country and to go to that country, and now they got their tentacles everywhere. And I'm not a conspiracist, but things just aren't panning out lately. It's just getting a little too.
And like St. Progressive said, Chicago is the experiment, and they're going to spread it all over the United States.
There it is.
It's just an example of how the United States really is turning into a third world country. Like there's Alabama, the United Nations was there. The United Nations is in Chicago because it's such a like a messed up place now. I mean, pretty soon the United Nations is going to be having peacekeeping missions all throughout the United States because all these poverty-stricken areas and inner cities are all going to be turning into war zones. I mean, like it's going to get bad, especially when the economic recession comes, which, oh my gosh, it was insane. Like all of a sudden when 2018 came, everyone is talking about it. Like I've been trying to get people to talk about all of 2017. And now all of a sudden 2018 hits and Jimmy Dore is talking about it more. Lee Camp is talking about it more. Pretty much all the progressive people on YouTube and like the libertarians on YouTube are all talking about it now. And it's like, finally, everyone's just waking up to this. But everyone's waking up to it too late and no one's going to be prepared.
Yeah, that's the biggest concern right now is I think we're so late to the show that we're going to miss half of it. But I think I think we'll catch it. I think we're catching it just in time that we can actually do something. But at the same time, you have to see how big and how powerful and how much influence and all this other stuff that the two-party oligarchy really has on everything and everyone. And if we don't get out there, as I said, and do the right things, and I'm not just talking about just a party. I'm talking about asking your senator, asking your representative to say what the fuck, question these people, and if they don't start answering us, because that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to answer our questions, but they seem to be less able to get in touch with. Interns are the new person to talk to now. So the distance between the voting republic and the people that are supposed leaders are getting so far apart, where they're purposely not being available to hear you and to help you. It just is seeming that way, and then all of a sudden, all this shit's starting to happen, and next thing you know, FEMA camps, revolution. I mean, I think they would love to have, just my perspective, a nice revolution to throw fucking people in FEMA camps. I just got a weird feeling about it.
I've been
Same
saying that.
progressives mentioned that FEMA camp.
Oh, I that's just me. I didn't even see her show.
In a functioning
Yeah.
democracy, you'd have daily conversations with your representative. In a semi-ideal democracy, you'd have weekly conversations with your representative.
Of course.
In an even remotely ideal democracy, you'd have monthly conversations with your representative. In the United States, you are lucky to have, a once every decade conversation with your representative.
In Lincoln's day, you could just walk into the White House.
Yeah.
Get in line, and when your turn came, you could start screaming at Lincoln.
Our Senator Murray, she refuses to see anybody anymore now, and she won't do any town halls or nothing.
Yeah, I can't remember which president it was, but I think for like the first 20 presidents or so, you could every inauguration day, anyone who wanted could just come into the White House and give their 2 cents to the president. So if you wanted to be like, "Congratulations, Mr. President," shake his hand, you could do that. And if you wanted to shake his hand while saying "fuck you," well, you could do that. It was the president just had to sit there and take it all day long.
Well, I think Congress is asleep and not doing their job, because I think Congress would be the one to allow a NATO to come into this country.
I know, that's fuck.
Well, NATO.
There's an old legend. There's an old legend about a tribe of people who, at once every year or so, they would have their leader walk into a dark hut with a blindfold on, and anybody could bring. Everyone would come in with cloaks and be disguised, and they would all walk into this hut in the dark, and they could bring whatever they wanted with them, except for the leader, who was, blindfolded and it's made to sit in the dark. And it was, a test to see if anyone would kill him. And if they did kill him, well, he wasn't a good leader.
I like that.
I'm not sure if that's true, but I read it as
Stork and I are like, hey, let's make some huts right out in front of make a bunch of little shacks. We'll just call them tiki huts. So what they do is, and we'll place them out in front of on the hill next to Congress, and they just got to walk through. And if they make it out the other side, be a door on one side, a door on the other. And if they make it out the other side, they're doing the right things.
They're gonna have to have blindfolds on, that way they don't see the guillotine, though.
I know.
Yeah. That's a good one, James.
Yeah, we'll have to soundproof it so you won't hear the so you don't hear the guillotine sound.
I'm not sure if all that stuff would work these days with the amount of trolls around. They'd probably just kill people just to kill all the good leaders.
Yeah. That's the biggest question: is who are the good leaders? I don't think are there. Can you guys think of anybody that you really trust right now that you have?
I'll just say that everyone is human. Everyone everyone's human and everyone makes mistakes.
Yeah.
But the best leader will be someone who acknowledges the fact that they are a human and makes mistakes. Whereas right now, all the politicians are like, "Nope, I voted that way and it was good, and I'm never gonna ever fess up my that was wrong, and then blah 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 blah."
Go a little further with that. I wanted to correct their mistakes too.
Acknowledging mistakes is one thing, and making mistakes is one thing, but intentionally engaging in looting, using your office to loot or for personal gain, I mean, that's what I find unacceptable. I can even handle a leader who's trying to do the right thing, but he never admits to mistakes. I could handle that guy more than I could somebody who's I made a mistake, but if you just give me more money, maybe I'll do it better next time. No, I'll take the first guy every day. I'll take that asshole every day over
Well,
that.
that's why you follow Jinx.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And Jordan. That's all we follow.
Hey,
Jenks and Jordan.
James.
Yeah.
James, why don't you try to get to interview Peter Lavelle from Crosstalk? Because
Okay.
he said he's not going on mainstream media. He's doing shows like ours. He was just on Jimmy Dore today.
Yeah, I saw that. He's from he's in Germany, right?
Russia.
No, Russia.
No, sorry, Russia.
He's
Sorry. I get those mixed up.
He's a Russian agent now.
Right. Yeah, but he's
That
had
interview
some
was
good
great.
stuff. That interview was epic. It's the perspective and Russia, they fucking laugh. Just the world laughs at us. But the biggest laugh, and not laughing that much because it's getting a little too much when you start portraying this life for too long. At a certain point, somebody's going to go, it's not fucking funny anymore, bro. You know what I mean? And then, bam! You know what I mean? I think Russia's getting to that point. I mean, they think we're just a big fucking circus. But but at the same time, I don't think they're going to keep putting up with this huge facade that we keep portraying about them. This huge lie. It's just getting out of control. But that was a great
and
interview.
the rumor is now that Mueller is supposed to be going to question Trump, and Trump can't wait for it.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. Yeah, the bottom line is there's nothing. There's fucking nothing, and they keep pushing it. You know what? My hope is, and everybody's hope, and I think the majority of the planet is just when all this comes and backfires, and then you see MSNBC. I don't know if they'd fire just half of their staff, CNN half of their staff. Sadly Fox would just be fucking jumping up and down, be like winning the Super Bowl for them. But sadly, but I mean that would just be like a golden moment. And like I said, I think it was last night toward the end, not last night, but the last time I had a show, was I keep bringing up Kim.com, this guy who supposedly has the missing link or between the dots that connects Seth Rich with the DNs, with being the WikiLeaks for the Podesta files with the thumb drive. But for some reason, he just can't knuckle up and just come out and fucking say something. Or he just doesn't have it.
That ship has flown, dude. It flew
Yeah.
like the first 2 days out, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's gone. Yeah.
Like if you had something like we talked about it, remember,
Yeah.
several times, all you had to do was go fly to Switzerland.
Yeah.
Give a deposition.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't even have to leave New Zealand. I think that's where he is, right?
Yeah.
But what he's doing, again, it becomes a game piece. It's not about truth or whatever to him. It's about trading it for something. In his case, he wants to have consideration in recuperating some of the assets and some of these charges that have been labeled against him. And the U.S. government went after him, and he wants to be able to travel to the U.S. and reclaim some of his assets.
Not just the assets; it's the resources. And resources, I'm talking about money. So once he knows that he's able to do what he needs to do freely, or somewhat freely in the United States again, then he knows that he's gonna bank on it. It's in the back of this guy's about money. I fucking watch him. I listen to him. His bottom line, everything he does, and I don't think he's an evil, terrible person. But when it comes back, it all comes around to him like the core of what he's doing. I think is just about the money, and that's the sad thing. I think, and I kind of foresee that. I sense that.
It was just some half-ass fucking plan. I mean, I think what he was thinking was maybe he could whip up the U.S. population to the point where, they would be demanding that Kim got his day in court.
Yeah.
And that just didn't happen. And It was ridiculous to think it would in the first place.
Right. So he didn't have shit. And the thing is like you're saying, that's a good take on it for sure. Just a way to get people to fucking get to the hype and demand. Perfect. Yeah. So
the problem is with him is that he was illegally wronged by the United States because Hollywood press the FBI or the CIA, one of those two, to go and basically raid his mansion and steal all of his stuff, and then imprison him. And and they couldn't imprison him, I don't think, but they still have like all of his stuff, and he's still a millionaire without it, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. He was
the
wrong.
fact that they wronged him and shut down mega uploads, on behalf of the Hollywood, big Hollywood, it was like he holds a vendetta against them, and I think he wants to get back at them. And so, he might have information on Seth Rich, but he won't give it to us unless he has the opportunity to get back at them.
Yeah, he was wronged for sure. Like, we have to take another look at our copyright laws. We have to figure out a way to make them work in the digital age. And he was an early casualty of that process.
Well, and he was illegally extradited from his home in New Zealand by United States forces without permission.
Yeah, I mean, he's been wronged, but I don't think he has anything. I think he's rolling the dice here.
That's a great, that's exactly what happened. The guy's just fucking working. And HA was all over that, man. I was like, all right, get something, come, and then all of a sudden it just never happened. I felt so bad for HA.
HA will still defend him.
I know.
HA is in love with Kim.com. He's
I know.
like, the great Kim.com, and he uses all these adjectives in front of his name. It's like, Kim.com, you keep rocking on, dude. Awesome life, and like.
Do you ever watch his eyes and how they light up when he talks about them too?
I didn't notice that.
I didn't notice that. Just gets all. I don't want to think too deep.
Gets all fluttery,
okay, that's a little weird.
Yeah, watch him.
Well, the other thing was HA and Tim were getting a little bit too cozy there for a while too. Yeah. That was getting hilarious. Tim, I love you, man. HA.
Oh God, the relationship.
Much.
Oh my God.
HA has no ability to get in touch with his man side when he talks about his adorations toward men.
Yeah, but you guys know I went after Kim, like on Twitter, like pretty hard with a lot of pictures, a lot of stuff, trying to get that guy to fucking do nothing. Never responded. Not one. Of course.
Trying to get who? I missed that.
I actually sent, like, I would say at least 8 max messages to supposedly Kim.com on his Twitter. I sent some pictures of him saying, "Oh, I'm just working the system for money, trying to, I'm trying to find a way to, to wrench him some way, to get him to fucking do something." But with all that I did and said, your theory is probably the most correct. He was just trying to find a way to get the masses, to get him to come to get him back in front of Congress to present his case. I mean, that would probably be something that he really wanted to do.
That's a crack pipe dream. Totally. Kim.com in front of Congress for Seth.
Yeah, that was.
You're smoking crack, dude.
Yeah, crack and meth, and and you're doing a fucking purple microdot.
Yeah, you've had too many like supermodels sitting on your face for too long.
Exactly.
Some brain damage due to asphyxiation.
And if you know what a purple microdot is, I'm sorry.
Has anyone heard of this journalist from Atlanta called Ben Swan? I had followed him on Facebook. He used to only run on regular news TV, focusing on Syria. His news was like RT, giving you the truth. And when he went and said, "Oh, we really have to look at this Russia gate," and after that, he took down all his social media websites and everything.
What's his name? Sorry.
Ben Swan. With 2 N's.
Ben Swan?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to look him up.
He did some really good reporting.
Oh, he's missing. That's what you're saying.
He's missing?
Ben Swan still appears to be missing from any media footprint. That's what he
Oh,
said.
whoa.
That's
Oh
the
yeah,
last
fuck.
thing he
Oh, I know who you're
did.
talking about. Cyril,
Yeah,
that
I
guy was fucking bomb, and he just all of a
Yes.
sudden clammed up and just. I think he kind of said in hints and in code words, kind of what happened, but you had to pick it apart to understand it. It's like he's gone, and he had a great show with some great information. It wasn't fucking all Alex Jones out. I researched, I fact checked all the stuff he came up with. He didn't totally say this is absolute truth or fact, but he just gave you the information and you did whatever you could with it or needed to do with it. But that guy was fucking bomb, and then he just shut down, just gone.
Yep.
Yeah, overnight they like shut down his news show and his Twitter and like told him that he had to disappear. It was crazy because he basically went on Twitter and after because he lost his news show and then he went on Twitter and was like, "I'll be back on the news on Monday, but I can't tweet anymore. Bye." And then
Well, he
nothing.
can move out to Russia. They looking for new journalists out there.
But no video. But ever since his Twitter disappeared, I haven't like. There's been no videos of his news show that have resurfaced.
Yeah.
And like gone viral at all. So like I wonder if he actually did go back on the news or if that was the end of Ben Swan.
I don't even know if the guy's fucking alive.
Because they say he used to appear on RT a lot.
I wonder if he still does at all.
I'm gonna research that. I'm gonna try to find that fucking dude.
And then another reporter was 6 ABC, I think in Washington, Scott Taylor. He was investigating the Seth Rich case. I was following him on Facebook.
I mean, gosh. Okay, so I love my life. Everything is wonderful. Fucking Holly. I don't know if you guys ever saw this, but Holly says that she was saying this for like several weeks or a few months. She's going, just let everybody know I really love what I'm doing. I love being here. I love my life. Everything's fucking fantastic. And like, and so everybody, let's all do this together, right? I love my life. Everything's great. I'm not thinking of committing like a overdose suicide. You know, just I mean, like one day, fucking James is gone. Where's James? I don't know. Where's James? I don't know. Where'd he go? He's gone.
You know? He's in a CIA lab. He's in the new MK Ultra lab.
Yeah, he's in fucking Guantanamo Bay. You know, who fucking knows?
Well, wait a minute. Same Progressive did a video that she didn't feel safe. I think last week during a snowstorm up there where she's at. And she was like, yeah, I went to look out the window. I have all the snow. It's snowing out here. And she says this black vehicle out here that's clean with nothing on it and tinted windows.
See, Debbie has a real reason to be concerned because she probably is on their radar because Rachel Maddow mentioned her.
Yeah.
Well, she's definitely on their radar. I mean, let's just think of how many subscribers she has. She has to be on their radar.
Them monitoring her in some way. I mean, I don't know why they would need to park a car outside in front of her house.
Well,
they don't need to do that kind of stuff anymore.
Yeah. Maddow marked her. That's and the fucking yeah. Put a mark. Once you're marked, I'm telling you, you're marked.
Well, the only reason to have cars stalking you or following you or parked outside of your house is purely for intimidation purposes and to make you feel paranoid.
They already know where if she's carrying a cell phone, they know exactly where she's fucking at.
Now, I'm not saying Debbie's in danger of being hurt or assassinated,
but they're just listening to her.
But she's black, and I'm sure that they are watching her.
Yeah.
Let me say anyone on this planet is in danger of being like dying or being assassinated. All you have to do is piss off the wrong person with the wrong connections. You know, like, I mean, just one person, their dad owns a company, or if you don't want to sell your land to someone who wants to put a pipeline there, you know, I mean, that's a lot of people who haven't wanted to sell their land to oil companies, you know, for pipelines have wound up dead in the last few years. That's not a coincidence, in my opinion.
Yeah, 'cause she said, "Oh, I'm not suicidal. There's nothing wrong with me.
Me neither. Me neither. Just saying.
Nor me.
Me either. Me either." Because my husband like, "I hope nobody show up at our door."
uh, tuk tuk tuk. You're Cheryl, right, on Montauk? Yeah. You need to come with us. What the fuck?
What?
No, I'm just saying. I'm portraying like a fucking MIB Men in Black agent knocking on your door one day.
Okay, I
And it
looked
was
up.
little. She said it was literally snowing, and the car was not covered with snow.
That's kind of interesting. Or it
Well,
just
that
could
would,
be a guy pick a limo. The limo drivers drive those old, the Continentals.
well, that would just mean that the car was only parked there recently, right? Like it would have just have pulled up.
Yeah. In any case, she's like Garden said, the things that she's saying, and as long as she's been around, and the stuff that she conveys to her audience is threatening to the two-party oligarchy. It's very threatening. Every time I bring that up, I'm telling you right now, they don't like it. Anytime you would use the word deep state, ooh, they don't like it. Shadow government, they don't like that either. There's lots of terms out there. The fascist new tyrannical state of the United States, they don't like it. But it's really happening. We're
Well, just
seeing it.
just to be clear, I don't
Yeah.
think that they think that Debbie poses any kind of real threat to them.
Yeah, she's
But
not big
the
enough.
thing is that, like, technology is such, and surveillance technology is such nowadays, that you can just do massive. Anyone who has even the slightest little problem, like, you could just devote some kind of monitoring to them. I mean, it's no big deal. You can just do blanket oversight of the population. And every once in a while, someone will stick out a little bit, and maybe like you monitor them a little bit more. But the fact is like everyone's being monitored, like all the time.
Well, all it would take
Yeah.
is for one of us to piss off the Koch brothers just a little too much.
I think
No,
And I worry about.
we're not worth the trouble, man. We're just not worth the trouble.
I don't think we're anywhere near a lot of it. Like me, I've always said this many times. Jimmy Dore should be driving around in a fucking Pope mobile, in my opinion.
Violence is a currency, right? And it's like you have only so much of it that you can use if you're not the state. So if you're like a super powerful person that wants people killed, you're not going to start having person after person killed. You'll restrict yourself to like the one or two people who are really important. Because the potential blowback for just going around killing people is too big. If you're not the state.
Distance yourself.
I want to tell you guys about Yvette Carnell. She is really good, speaks on black issues, black politics. She always mentioned black politics. She has well over several thousand people on her feed watching and listening. And as the government does, when they see black folks getting together, learning information, they want to break it up. I worry about her.
Well, I worry about I'm pretty sure that every single person here has said something critical of a foreign government. There's a lot of foreign governments that have the money, the resources, and they're petty enough that they would do things to harm people in other countries who say shitty things about them on the internet. Erdogan from Turkey is an example. Benjamin Netanyahu. They're the ones having people purged from social media websites. And those are also people who are petty enough, like Donald Trump, that they, if they could, they would poison everyone who makes fun of them on the internet. So if you ever say anything or talk about real journalism, from that's going on in Turkey or Israel, Palestine, I am sure that all of us are on some kind of list of people to be knocked off at some point for Erdogan and Netanyahu. Not like a personal list they keep on them at all times, but just like on the computer, probably a few thousand, spaces down, just on the list of inconvenient people that, they wouldn't mind getting rid of.
But I'm speaking on black issues. Everything black folks try to do, like the Black Panthers, the CIA put the drugs in the community and broke that up. They were doing good. We had Black Wall Street. They were doing excellent. They came in and took that out because they didn't like it. And now we have this girl on the internet, on YouTube, with thousands of viewers talking about black politics.
Well, then you have the other end of it too, where they co-opt black leaders. And look at Al Sharpton.
Yeah.
He's a classic example of it. Busted for coke dealing, right?
Just not him. John Lewis, Clyburn. They probably would have turned on Martin Luther King when Martin Luther King said, "I'm against the Vietnam War." They didn't want him to be against the war.
Well, they find something on you, and then they try to go after you. And Al Sharpton, again, he was busted for dealing coke. And all of a sudden, he gets these passes, and he starts moving up. What's up with that? They tried to do the same thing they tried to do the same thing with Martin Luther King. They because he had cheated on his wife. They were they found some shit on him, and then they went after him. They tried to get him to kill himself. Yeah, they sent him a letter might as well blow your head off now.
Well, I know they were involved in that too, and Malcolm X, and JFK, and RFK.
Well, Nation of Islam, to me, if you ask me, is so heavily fucking infiltrated from what I know about its history that they just act as a wing of these intelligence agencies.
Any leftist or religious organization has been heavily infiltrated, especially if it poses a threat to the status quo.
Well, I think that Malcolm X might have been killed at least with a nod from our government, if not through
yes, because he was too. He was too powerful.
Whether they gave the order or not doesn't matter. It was with their blessing.
He was too powerful.
We can't claim to know exactly how it went down, but we do know that Nation of Islam and U.S. intelligence agencies have had frequent contact. We know the history of Malcolm X and what he was doing while he was traveling abroad and the message that he brought back here. And we know the history of the U.S. government and the way it treats black leadership. So you put all those things together and, it's not ridiculous to think that intelligence agencies facilitated the assassination of Malcolm X.
Well, and it's, you have to think about, the FBI are the ones who most likely killed Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, and then the CIA, JFK. It's it's just sickening to think about. All of our intelligence agencies at some point have been compromised to some people.
But see, them two were talking about, they was talking about all races get together. They didn't want that. They want to keep us divided.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's about economics too. It helps the upper class of society to have a permanent underclass. And if that class happens to be black, well, that's great. If they happen to be Irish or something, because that was done, well, that's great too. These people at the top, a lot of them really don't care about race. They just care about sucking money off of populations, and that's what they've been doing. And it's easy to exploit people's prejudices, racial prejudices, in order to keep black people as a permanent underclass.
It is easy to do that.
So why not just go with that one, right? They just don't care. These people at the top, some of them are racist, but a lot of them are just cold, calculating people.
And I wonder how many people at the top are anti-Semites who push this Jewish conspiracy to make everyone think that Jews run the world, because it's more prevalent than you think. If you talk to if you go around to any college campus or any, like if you just go around anywhere in the world or like anywhere in the United States and start talking to random people about what they think, I'm sure that you're going to find at least 1 in 10 people who will believe in the whole conspiracy that, the Rothschilds run the world and, the Jew bankers control everything. And it's like, I wonder who the frick is feeding that to everybody on a daily basis. Like who benefits the most from
I
everyone?
believe they are, because an old Jewish man told my husband, there's always one Jew that ruled the world. Because why we got the APEC? We are so for that APEC.
Well, that's not Jews though. That's Zionists, and there's Christian Zionists too. Not just Jewish Zionists. And the reason that that has such an impact here is because of all the crazy evangelicals who want to bring about the rapture and bring Jesus Christ into the world because they're all fucking insane.
Well,
I hope they don't pass that bill where it's against the law to protest against Israel.
Well, it's as of right now. I think it got the bill isn't. They took it out of committee, right? Or it's out of commission. So temporarily.
But don't forget, Trump is an anti-Semite. Like he had a a 6-pointed star on some graphic one time.
Well, he just retweeted that, right? He didn't actually, because it was.
I'm being facetious. It's ridiculous. There's been no better friend to Israel than Trump. Like Netanyahu straight up said that he slept in Trump's son's bed, and people were still like, Trump, that anti-Semite, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
and Obama was nice to Israel.
Yeah, Netanyahu
did. Because before he left, he gave them how many millions of dollars in weapons deal?
It's because Jared Kushner's family is friends with Netanyahu's family, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's invested in them settlements too over there.
Yeah, Jared Kushner is it's a big conflict of interest with Israel because he has a very, very, very vested interest with Israel, personally and monetarily. And yeah, he and Bibi are good friends.
Well, now Trump gets to prove exactly how, accepting of the Jewish people he is, right? Just by signing off on whatever they want and, whatever Israel wants.
Yeah,
and they call him Putin's puppet. He should be called Netanyahu's puppet.
Oh, and that's what I was just going to bring up is the insane thing is that because of how everyone painted him as, an anti-Semite, he's going to give Israel everything they want. And because everyone has painted him as, a Putin's lover, he's going to not give Russia anything. He's going to be super anti-Russia. And right now he's completely towing the Democratic establishment's, wishes to be tough on Russia, and he's implementing new sanctions and signing off on the sanctions bill and keeping up all the Obama era policies of ramping up NATO on Russia's border. All this escalation. I mean, it's just insane. And it's like Peter Lavelle said, to the Russian people, it's a joke that's not funny anymore. Because it was funny to see all the great America, quaking in its boots because supposedly Putin did something. And now there's troops on Russia's border, and anytime they try to move troops within their own borders, it's treated as if it's aggression.
Well, then, Jimmy Dore also pointed out about Jake Tapper, all right? Jake Tapper was towing, he was bitching about, the way the UN Council went down, right?
Oh, that pissed me off.
I don't know if you guys saw that
yeah.
with Jimmy Dore, but anyways, he made the most obvious point, which is there's your resistance. There's your resistance to Trump. Jake Tapper supporting Trump's policies in regards to both Russia and Israel. We've heard him do it both on both ends now. And there's your resistance. It's ridiculous.
It is.
It is. And what was really ridiculous is that in that segment, every single country that Jake Tapper went through the trouble of pointing out had a so-called shady past. Every single one of those countries only had a fucked up past because of the fucking United States. If it wasn't for the United States, every single one of those countries would most likely be stable right now.
His argument was just pretty much one long non sequitur. You know, like, it had nothing to do with the issue at hand. Oh, this country has this problem. I mean, you know, we're not talking about the issue at hand. You're trying to play some kind of like clumsy shell game.
Yeah, it was like one of the most blatant propaganda pieces I've ever seen.
Yep,
Yeah, those countries didn't have issues till we got in there.
Yeah, I mean, he went to the point of calling out Libya and saying that they were messed up. It's like, only because our black president went there and made sure that slavery returned.
Yes. They got the slave trade over there. That's sickening.
The issue is not how ethical any of these other countries are. The issue is whether the United States should, like, put its embassy in Jerusalem. That's the issue. Like, all this other stuff is just bullshit. It's just a damn shell game. And a clumsy one at that, because there is really no way to play it smoothly. You're just using like Philistine tactics, basically. You're just forcing your way in. We'll make excuses later. It's the same thing we saw during the Bush era, and the same thing, in fact, that we saw during the Obama era. You just push your way in, and we'll figure out something later. And like, media is left scrambling for these ridiculous arguments to support it.
And people don't want to believe that Obama was worse than Bush with these wars.
Yeah, and Obama encoded a lot of this bullshit that we hate so much, that Bush instituted. He put it into law permanently, or like extended it in many cases.
Yeah, he's the one who codified Bush's tax cuts and made them permanent.
Yeah. Because my husband didn't know that. He said he made them permanent. I'm like, hell yeah.
And again, like, you know, a president is only one man, and there are pressures put upon the president to do this and that. He has less power than a lot of people think. And that's why the policies remain so consistent. If the executive branch was as powerful as it was made out to be under the Bush era, because everyone was like, oh, these executive powers that Bush is doing, you know, like, it doesn't matter really what's written on paper. Like, if he's still just the signature to a lot of these policies.
Well,
he's not the one.
Well, General Wesley Clark had warned about this after 9/11. Because somebody came to him and mentioned it was 7 other countries they were supposed to invade, and all the ones Obama just invaded, they were on the list.
Well, actually, I think he added a couple. There was because Iran was on that list, and we're just now getting around to that with Trump. But I was gonna add that did you guys ever see the video where Obama said that defeating ISIS was going to take 30 years?
Yeah, because they were funding them.
Well, it was just, it's hilarious to think about, you know, that Trump just by getting us, like, by basically stopping our funding of ISIS in Syria, within his first year, Russia and Assad had Syria gone, or ISIS out of Syria, and ISIS is almost nothing in Iraq now. It's it's taken Trump less than 1 year to let other countries destroy ISIS. So
and you don't hear that on mainstream media. All they keep talking about Trump and Russia, the Mueller investigation.
Yeah, so the fact is that, that Obama is the reason that ISIS was survived and grew all those years. If he would have just let it go, the other countries probably would have taken care of it in the first place.
So, Snork, as far as that message that you placed in the chat, I remember that taking place, right? But I never really found out what happened to the researcher that was arrested. Do you know what happened to him?
No.
He was convicted? Because the story just kind of went away.
Story of who?
Well, remember in 2001, there was some anthrax that was sent to Congress. Do you guys remember
Oh,
that?
yeah.
Okay, well, they determined that it had come from a military institution. And they went in and arrested like one guy. And, then I just don't know what happened to him after that. The story just kind of died.
And that's just like that bombing at the Atlanta Olympics. And they blamed that one guy, and he sued the government. He won because he didn't do it. It was that other guy. They got him locked up. He's a reclusive living up in the mountains or something.
I'm not sure. I'm trying to find out. Anthrax.
Yeah, it was the Atlanta Olympics. I forgot the guy's name. They accused. But I don't remember. You're right, though, because my daughter, she was like, when Mel comes, she used to kick the Mel across the floor when that anthrax was going around.
I'm reading what happened now, and I do remember what happened. Like, the dude committed suicide.
He killed himself?
Yeah. I don't know the details of the case, but he could.
Oh, my God.
Committed suicide. Bruce Ivins, I remember.
Because they say he was the one that did it, and he didn't. Isn't the guy in prison now that actually did it?
The guy's name who worked at Fort Detrick, who FBI agents arrested, was Stephen Hatfill.
Ivins was working on a new and improved anthrax vaccine at U.S. Army Research Institute Infectious Diseases, Fort Detrick, Maryland, just outside Washington. Detrick. All right, so it was him, but you said that there's another one, Stephen Hatfield. You said was his name.
Yes, but it said that he sued the New York Times for defamation and the Justice Department, and then a federal judge dismissed the libel suit, but he received a $5.8 million settlement in his suit against the government. So the judge dismissed the libel suit against the New York Times, but the government settled for $5.8 million with Hatfield. And then it says that Bruce E. Ivins, another government scientist suspected, commit suicide.
Yeah, that's worth looking into a bit more. But of course, any information you come across it is going to be.
Yeah, you won't find anything.
Yeah.
This is according to NPR. NPR has a timeline of the anthrax terror of 2001, and that's where I found all this information.
You could try to read between the lines a bit, but
I don't know if you can even access the Fort Detrick website anymore.
Yeah, you can. I'm on it right now.
Okay. The wiki or the actual Fort Detrick website?
The actual, like it's Detrick.army.
As the top level domain.mil?
Yeah, it's .mil.
Okay.
yeah, I mean, you can try to read the lines on between the lines on stories like this, but it's all just a guessing game. Any real information is going to be long gone by now. I wonder, what the circumstances around his suicide were, if any of his family had anything to say about it. We had no idea.
Elephant gun.
What's that?
7-foot long elephant gun.
Yep. He shot himself in the face. He used one of those solar side devices. There was a guy who committed suicide, and he somehow had hooked a solar panel up to a gun. So, when something happened, the solar panel would power a device that pulled the trigger. So that's how we did it with an elephant gun.
Wow.
Somebody really did do that, by the way. They invented some kind of device to shoot themselves.
So you are able to visit Fort Detrick if you choose. You'll need your social security number and a government issued identification, so like a driver's license or a passport.
So what, is there a museum out front?
What?
So what, there's a museum out front? It's
I
also
would-
the Center for Cancer Research for the United States and all infectious diseases. They supersede the CDC.
Yeah, it says that this is just saying if you're coming as a visitor. So I'm assuming that there's something to visit there, like a museum or
A lot of these places do have little museums. And then at the back of the museum, there'll be some machine guns and some dogs, and that's where the people that work there have to go through.
supposedly they have an initiative for planting trees on the base, and like their website is saying that they're like known as a plant community.
Well, that's a place for you to work.
Trying to find that story about them changing the way that they handle some of these dangerous microorganisms.
Yeah, it was designated a Tree City, USA, and a Maryland plant community.
You can't even really trust the CDC no more.
The what?
Well, what is it? The Center for Animal Disease Research or something is right across from the Barilla pasta plant.
Yeah. Well, not right across. I'd say it's probably a few miles north.
Ew.
Well, it looks like some of they might share some infrastructure because they're way out there in the middle of nowhere by themselves.
I lived there for a while. Before the Barilla plant was built, the CDC was there, or not CDC, National Animal Disease Lab was there for a long time.
Yeah.
And
I drove. Go ahead.
That is a good place for it. I mean, lots of animals. The only thing I did there was what do they call it? Nerve gas.
They do that at the.
It was very controversial. They quit it real quick.
I was always
not a Barilla, not a Barilla.
I've always, ever since then though, because I was driving down the highway and I noticed this, right, and I was like, huh. And like ever since then, I've been kind of like, it's always been in the back of my mind. Should I buy Barilla pasta or any Barilla product?
Yeah. The National Animal Disease Lab is on the north side of town. Barilla is on the south side of town, by the side of the city.
Though when you're driving down the highway, you see the sign for the Animal Research Lab. And if you're driving south, it's on your right. And I thought I saw some buildings or something back there. And then on the left, there's like the Barilla pasta plant. You can't miss it.
The Barilla pasta plant is huge.
Yeah.
It's as long or longer than an aircraft assembly building.
Wow.
But then you keep driving, and then I think pretty much the only thing between that and Des Moines is like there's some rest stop with a casino and maybe some small towns or something. But
there's other things.
I bet they share some pipes or something. It's frightening.
It's been a while since I've been by the Barilla facility. It is since then they've added a gluten-free facility, and I wonder if that's what you're looking at. So one of the leading gluten-free pasta makers in the country.
I'm not sure. I mean, I see like on the left-hand side, there's a giant plant with the Barilla sign on it.
You might not even realize where the National Disease Lab is. I don't think it's visible too much from the highway.
I am never buying their pasta ever again.
There's the sign, and then there's some buildings. I didn't drive over there, so it could have been something else.
Not that close. There's at least there's at least a mile east to west separation, and the main pasta, the stuff with semolina, is at least 2 miles south.
Are you positive?
Yeah, I am.
Stuff
Now,
with
the
the nerve
gluten-free,
gas in it.
Holy God, that building is huge. I just Google image search the Barilla pasta plant, and holy God, is that a huge building?
and a lot of the National Animal Disease Lab is underground. It's kind of like Andromeda. There is a facility down there that they can burn large mammals, and completely incinerate large animals. It's called a fluidized bed. It's like sand that's heated to 800 or 900 degrees and blown around. And when the sand particles hit the creature, all tissue, bone, and everything is gone. 100% particularizes anything.
Crazy.
So they can do a whole herd of cattle in a day, you know.
Yeah. It's just always something that got me thinking, though. When I see it in the store,
It's also 2 miles from where the first. Well, see, they built a temporary nuclear reactor underneath the stadium in Chicago to start making.
Yeah,
to prove that you could make a nuclear reaction, but the actual reactor, the permanent one, was built there.
Oh, really?
And at first they tried 2 methods. They weren't sure if they could purify enough uranium, so they tried making a nuclear bomb out of thorium. And from their mistakes, they would take the nuclear fuel and they would put it in caskets and bury it as though it was dead professors. Because there was a cemetery on campus. And back, I think, 86, 87, they discovered that it was too hot and they had to remove a whole bunch of dirt from the cemetery along with the caskets. And it came in at night with the EPA and just dug the whole area up and took it away.
I came across another interesting artifact of the Manhattan Project. It was up in South Dakota. I was driving around, and there's old missile testing. It like Oppenheimer and a few others went up there, and they were trying to figure out how to create missiles or whatever. I don't think Oppenheimer was involved in the missile creation process, but he was up there for some reason. And it's just a small facility, and I can't remember the name of it, but it's in South Dakota. Do you know what I'm talking about? There's another one of these out-of-the-way places where they did some of the pre-work testing of these things.
Like tested other things up there, even into the 70s.
Really? Like what?
If somebody needed an unusual facility that was 300 feet tall, they'd rent it out to you. You could do your tests in it.
Let me see.
They were back then experimenting to see what they could do to us in the United States.
Yes. It was related to Project, I can't remember the name. But there was one where they wanted to know what the effects of different levels of fallout would be on the public. This was done in the 50s and 60s. So they duplicated the fallout and put it in fake mosquito foggers, and they would drive around black neighborhoods. Originally, it was supposed to be Boston only because they thought the fallout blowing on the black neighborhoods in Boston would blow out to sea. But somebody accidentally accelerated it and included St. Louis, Minneapolis, and some other cities. And it had Congress really upset because it was blowing on, where congressmen live. And but it didn't make It takes 50 years for something like that to be declassified. So it was only in the last 10 years that that was public knowledge. It's still hard to find on the internet. I can't remember what to look it up under.
Thanks, Gordon. I will never be able to reach out for my favorite pasta brand again without thinking of that.
Well, like I said, you know, okay, you might know that that one's there. But the National Animal Disease Lab is very careful. And because of the controls they put on to try to make sure that they're doing tests, they might actually be better than other pasta places that don't have those same controls.
Don't try to make me feel good about it.
I'm more concerned that it's so close to diesel fumes.
It was part of the whole. What I saw, I guess, was part of the whole Pathfinder project. Except there was the part that what I saw was clearly about missile development, whereas like the Pathfinder project as a whole was built about building this nuke plant, because it was between Sioux Falls and Brandon, which was the area I was in. So.
If you saw the Barilla building, take a look at the Tones building down the road.
What?
Well, he's saying there's nothing else down the road. There's a bunch of stuff on that highway. So a little bit farther south down on the highway is the Tone Spice Factory.
Well, the funny thing about that trip was like not too far. Okay, you go past the Barilla plant and all that, and you make it to the rest stop with this casino. They had closed down 33, so we had to like go around and go through like Winterset. So there's a lot of that I didn't see, I guess, between Des Moines.
North of Winterset. I mean, Winterset is south of Des Moines. So just south of Ames, there is a Tones. More by Ankeny, there is a Tones Spice Factory. That's also huge.
I've never heard of Tones before.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought it was the #1 spice manufacturer in the United States.
I thought
Been reading too much Tones propaganda, Snork. You've been indoctrinated.
Ships automatically wherever they send Barilla pasta.
We don't have that in our stores. We have Spice Island or something like that. Or
Tones are the little white round ones that are about an inch tall, inch in diameter. It costs like $1.99. I like to buy my stuff in the half-quart size that's like in a little 10-inch jar, plastic thing.
Oh, Ditzy, yes, McCormick's. That's what we have out here.
Okay.
I've thought about the next time I'm down in Detroit going to check and doing some filming around the Packard plant. It's been all so over filmed now that like I don't know if it'd be worth it, but
I use Simply Organic spices.
Yeah. Me too.
in the Upper Peninsula on the Garden, there's a place called the Garden Peninsula that goes off into Lake Michigan. The very tip of it, there's an old foundry. It's an old smelting foundry from the from the 1800s, I believe. And it's all in ruins now, except for the foundry itself, which is still structurally intact, and it's huge. And it's a state park now, and you can go through it. No one's ever at this state park because it's way out in the middle of nowhere. But it's this huge old iron foundry, and you can just wander through it and explore it. It's really cool.
I'm trying to
Hey,
decide.
Snort, Barilla they're raising cattle. Is it because they sell them Barilla meals in the freezer at the store?
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, they selling meals now, like chicken and shrimp and pasta. Come in a bag. You can microwave it or cook it on the stove. So why would a pasta place need cows?
They might be a big food conglomerate. The Barilla is no small operation. Like I said, you could build a
Yeah,
747 in their factory. A whole bunch of
because
them.
real Italians make that from scratch.
Yeah.
I am just glad I am a chef and I know how to cook from organic. I know how to find it. I know how to. I don't
One
know
of the
if I can
one of the
tolerate.
coolest things that you see when you're driving out west are like I think they're refineries of some sort. They look like giant cubes that are made out of pipes, and they have lights all over them. I think they're refineries, but I don't know if you guys have ever seen those. I mean, they're like multi-stories tall. They're like pretty much a perfect cube, and it's all pipes and walkways. There's no walls.
Yeah,
Just
we have we have Sunoco here.
they're cool to look at. I've always
And
liked
they
architecture.
always have issues.
Yeah, I bet.
All right, guys. I'm getting late, getting tired. Let's close shop. I'll be on
Night,
All right,
guys.
tomorrow.
everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you all for coming. I
Good
always
night,
appreciate. Hey,
everyone.
Garden. What is that a picture? Is that Total Recall?
That's from the top of Superstition Mountain.
Oh wow, that's cool.
I've just been
Like,
zoning in on it this whole time.
I know. I'm like
climbed up
going.
to the.
That looks like Total Recall, where they get blown out of the mountain and their eyes are bulging out.
Oh yeah.
And then that's where Arnold Schwarzenegger is going like this.
And where salt was banned, they didn't have salt.
Yeah.
It's crazy up there, dude. There's no easy way up it, and like the part that I went up, you got to walk across these big flat boulders that will like move.
You've been up it. You've been up there. Shit.
That's
right.
That's where I took the picture, dude.
Oh,
all
that's
the
your
pictures I put
picture.
up.
Oh.
All the pictures I put up here are mine.
Your pictures. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Yep.
I like that.
I'll save my Superstition Mountain stories for another night.
Yeah, I would like to hear that sometime. All right, I'm going. Go ahead, Snark. Sorry.
Okay, good night.
I was just say I'm
Thank you.
just getting ready to
Good night,
harvest these
James.
for my
Good
daughter.
night, Cheryl. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it.
These are like the red peppers that you get in Chinese food, but they're not dried; they're fresh.
Are those the evil ones? What are the ones that are evil, Snark? The evil.
These are hot, but they're not boot jalokia.
Okay. Those are the ones in like Chinese food. I've seen those, like Szechuan chicken and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Spicy
and then
chicken,
these are
spicy chicken.
a little bit milder ones.
Yeah. I can do that. I can't
So
do the tough stuff.
when they're in my garden, they're black as they're growing. When they're ripe and ready to pick, they glow.
Whoa.
So it's just like, that one's done.
That's cool.
Ready to go. So
yeah, we need. You have a lot of great hydroponic systems that are working there, and several. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but stuff that I think we could all do. I think there are laws that keep us from growing in certain areas and zones in certain states our own food. Isn't that terrible?
Did you say they glow as in they have bioluminescence?
That's what I was thinking.
No, it's that when they're done, the thing that makes them red reacts with the light that I have in there, and the ripe ones glow like a light bulb. As soon as I take them away from those lights, they don't have any luminescence of their own.
That's cool though. All right, guys, I'm out. I don't know
good night,
where
everybody.
Ryan was. Good night. Thanks for coming on, brother.
Night.
Lucas, good night. Good night. Good night. Thank you, Lucas, for being here. Always a pleasure. Ryan, thank you. You know what I was thinking? Oh, hey, Evan. I guess he's probably crashed out in his igloo. Anyway, so yeah, it's not a waste to be here, though. I think. I mean, Well, you could be playing video games, or I mean, honestly, I'd rather be spending time with my boys, but that's not the way it's set up with the exes, or spending time with my daughter. But she's in Auckland. But since I'm here and since I'm available, I'm going to do what I can to bring this kind of knowledge and this kind of information, which I think is pretty astute. It's I think it's pertinent. I also do believe that it's vital to have some of this information. Yeah, there are some conspiracies out there that may be, still in the theoretic mode. But as far as um, what's happening in the world, there are some players out there that really truly believe that you're just a product. You're just a resource, and you're expendable. And these are people just like you and me. I could be sitting across the room from a man my age, probably might have as many kids as I have, and but he's just a billionaire or a trillionaire, or he has. But if we're wearing the same clothes and wearing the same shoes and sitting in the same chair across the same table in a room with nothing but a couple of plants, what do I tell that guy? Do I say I'm significant? I have purpose. I have much to offer the planet, the people, its inhabitants, and what do you have? Oh, I got mansions and yachts and money and property all over the place, and I've got this and that, and I go, yeah, but are you doing anything? I mean, are you doing anything? He's like, what? What do you mean? What do you mean doing anything? Are you doing it for you? Or are you doing it for everyone? Well, some of these people think that they're doing it for everyone. I mean, Oprah was a part of a team of people. Oprah, look under your chair. There's a car for you, and a car for you, and a car for you. Like, I wish there was one of those fucking shows. But is there anything that you're doing to? They kind of believe that, like I was saying, Oprah. They kind of believe that they know what's right for everybody. They actually truly believe, because they have so much money and so much power and influence and just resources up the yin yang, money, tools, whatever, that they have the say on what's best for me. So I'm sitting across from this guy, and I'm just going to go, so you know what's best for me? You've done all the studies, you've taken all the courses, gone to all the seminars, and you believe, whether it's religiously or because you have all this money and power, that you think what you're doing is best for me. It's not. It's just best for you. And I think they need to realize that. I think they need to realize that, however they're thinking, whatever they're doing, and Oprah, with all these high profile billionaires and millionaires, had the secret meeting a little while back. Look it up. Secret meeting with Oprah. They were talking about how to control the world's population. And like, we don't have a say so in it, right? So I'd say to this guy, so I don't have a say so in what's going to happen to my kids, their kids, and so on and so on. It's just because you have all your money, whether you made it with your hands, blood, sweat, and tears, or because you inherited it, or maybe you won the lottery, or made a few good investments here and there, and just we're in the right place, the right fucking time, like a lot of people are, like a small majority of people are actually. You have say so over what's going to happen in my life. Your life is more significant than mine. I mean, think about that. You believe that, and I'm talking to you. Talking to you. I'm talking to you. Mr. Super Rich guy that's completely probably out of touch with what's really going on in the world. Or maybe you know so much that something that we don't know that we need to know. You know, maybe you are in touch with aliens, or maybe there's higher extraterrestrial beings out there that maybe because you guys have so much money and power, you have access to. I don't fucking know. But from my perception of where I'm sitting, you don't give a fuck about me. You don't care about my planet. You don't care about my squirrels that crawl up the trees. You don't care about the bugs in the ground. You don't care about the plants that grow or the trees. You don't fucking care. All you care about is having more of what you want and what you believe what you believe you need. You think that your life is more significant than ours because of where you're at, because of what you have, that it's far more important. You know, one of my kids could be a great scientist one day, or an engineer, or somebody, a physicist, that could possibly change the direction of how we move through space and time. And maybe there could have been many opportunities of millions, you know. Here's a statistic for you. In the 240 years that we've been a nation, 222 of those years we've been at war. And the total amount of people that we've killed, that we've been involved with in killing the United States, over 20 million people. So out of that 20 million people, maybe one of those kids, you know, in some carpet bombing or some drone shoot that accidentally took out some kids in somewhere, or a person that was studying to be a physicist, or learning or reading a book, or trying a way to find a way to move through space and time, to find a cure for every disease, or trying to, maybe there was somebody out there that had it, that was working on it. Something so immensely significant to our existence, but you keep fucking it up. You know, you keep bringing us back because you think you know what you're fucking doing. You know, it could have been one of those kids that could have been the person that created a way to create a, you know, was probably one day going to work in the CERN, Switzerland Hadron Collider and find a way to move through space and time like that. Or somebody was working chemically or finding a way to, you know, scientifically using chemicals to the fountain of youth, to create the fountain of youth so that it would stop our aging, just slow our DNA process, or finding ways to heal things, and just so many fucking things. I mean, we breed, we do things, but a lot of times great things come out of those. I'm not just talking about Michael Jordan's. I'm not just talking about Tom Brady's. You know, I'm talking about Elon Musk's, whatever his fucking name is. You know, I'm talking about um, Neil deGrasse Tyson. I'm talking about a lot of people out there, and I'm not. Those are just mainstream people. There's probably many in the shadows behind in the room, and actually doing the work, trying to find ways to do things that'll make us evolve. Not make us, but get us to evolve to a much more knowledgeable and sophisticated and more brilliant species that is fucking far better than what we've been stuck with right now. But war is more important, right? You people, the other people. So the guy across the room, he's also an investor in wars. He deals with the banks, and the banks like war because war makes money, sickness makes money, destruction makes money. you're not good. You're not right. You're not doing what's best. You're doing the wrong things. And he could look at me in the eye and I'd just say, I'm right. What you're doing and what you believe you're doing is you're not doing the right things for us. Humanity has to be humane. If we're going to continue to thrive, and people think that, only the strong survive, of course, but what dictates what a country truly is or what a species truly is, when it's all said and done, is how they treat each other, how they take care of each other. Do they just take care of the rich, or do they take care of everybody? But I would just tell them, you're just fucking wrong, bro. You're way off. You really do not know shit. And you're a fucking waste to our species and what you're doing. But there are some out there. I know there's some very educated, highly intelligent, you know, billionaires and millionaires that get it, that want to preserve the species, to preserve the planet, understand climate change, understand Medicare, universal health care. They understand the benefits of making sure there are people on the planet that can help us all evolve. Get us to Plan B, which is another fucking planet. But as long as you keep blowing it up, as long as you keep killing people, as long as you keep preying on the weak, you're just fucking wrong. You're no worse. You're no better than some plague. Honestly, you're just no better than some plague that's just eating people alive. Like, it's just a terrible disease that continues to just like eat internal organs. You're that. If you continue to do what you're doing to the people that are here for you. I'm here for them. People that come on here, I'm here for. If I could do something for them, I will. I'll do what I can. If people around me, I'll help them. Who are you helping? You got to ask yourself, what are you really doing to contribute to the species overall, to the planet, which harbors you, which protects you? What are you really doing? Put your religion aside, put your money aside, put all the influence that tells you this and that, and just think for yourself and ask yourself, am I a fucking plague? Am I the wrong person? Am I not doing the right things? Just pretend like you have nothing. Just sit there one day in your boxer shorts, out on a log somewhere with the forest and everything around you. Just ask yourself, am I really doing what's best for myself? Because there's so much joy and there's so much pleasure, honestly, when you see somebody, you're helping them and you're doing something for them and you're creating towards the betterment of all. I don't know why you guys have to keep going in these directions. You get caught up in the flashing, the hoopla, and fucking pedogate, whatever. I don't know what the fuck you guys are doing. Everybody's expendable, everybody's a slave, all this other shit's sick. Stop, evolve. We're at that precipice. If you guys would just fucking just think about what's best, we can all start. We can all really start to do what's to get the fuck off of here, this rock, this place that we'll go fuck up some other rock. But I think we'll be hopefully a little smarter about it next time. I'm hoping. Anyway, so to you, Mr. Billionaire, pull your fucking head out of your ass and do what you're supposed to. Do the best things. Not the right thing. Do the best things for yourself so you can sleep at night, so you can enjoy your life, and let others around you do the same thing. Okay. Anyway, if this ever gets to a fucking billion, I'd be surprised as hell. But I'm telling you, I think if they just, it's not about philanthropy. I posted that up. It's not about giving and getting a tax write-off. It's about genuinely feeling like you're contributing to the core. The core is planet and everything on it. And if you can keep that in mind, if you can keep that in your core, that you're, oh my God, I'm really thinking about the planet because I really I want the trees to grow, the water to be fresh, my grandkids and their grandkids to be able to play in the rivers and the lakes and the oceans that I used to play in. But it's not looking that way, It's not looking like that's going to happen because of what you guys are thinking. This handful of fucking people that are just believe you're so fucking in control of everything, which sadly you guys kind of are. But, it's grasshoppers. Ants don't need grasshoppers. It's grasshoppers that need ants. Anyway, I am going to go. Thank you all for coming. I'll be on tomorrow night. The biggest thing is I just appreciate everybody for coming on here and have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Oh, a little birdie told me, I think there's something wrong with Red Economics' computer or something. That's why she hadn't been around. And I got some interviews coming up. And we got hopefully that debate coming up. I'm just waiting for another person. I guess her name is Veronica. She's also running for governor. And a few other things that are going to be on the show that are going to be really cool. And I know it's long, but it's just a place, like I said, come in, rant, talk about what you want to do. These are liberals. These are, some of them are libertarians in a sense. A lot of us are definitely true progressives, if you want to put a label on us. But we're just kind of just thinking about what's best, man. I mean, you just heard what I fucking talked about. Let's fucking evolve. Evolve. Just fucking, gosh, just stop all that bullshit and just let's go. Let's get it. Let's do it. Did you feel the excitement in that and just fucking just getting everybody just like with you? Everybody's with you now and you've got a bunch of people behind you. Can you feel that? Like you're the star of the fucking rock concert now. Because you're doing the right things. You're contributing and you're being a part of the society and the planet. That's what we all want, the majority. But again, ants don't need grasshoppers, man. We don't. And I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you. And hopefully you'll get it. But we'll work with you. Just be a part of the ants that you actually are. You know. On this little planet in a giant universe of who knows multi-universes. But anyway, I am starting to babble and I'm getting tired. So aloha to everybody. Thank you all for coming on. Thank you, James, so much. We absolutely appreciate you a whole bunch. You make a perfect host. Mahalo and aloha. Oh, Rebel, you're fucking super cool. Exactly. But it's harder for us to rule people. Many do have the net. That's true. This is true, young ladies. I fucking dig you guys. Anyway, yeah, this is better than going to the bar. I just like fucking saving money hanging out here. Anyway, aloha.